Welcome to another episode of 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons Descent into Avernus. Let's do some introductions. There's lots of conversation going on before the stream. Yep. So let's do some introductions. I'll start with myself and we'll work our way around. I am Vallen. I will be playing as Palkas, a wild mage sorcerer. Wild magic sorcerer.
Hey, I think you're muted or something.
Everything seems fine here. Broadcasting.
Are you muted to them still?
They're still muted. Hi, everybody. I'm like, it still seems really quiet. Nobody's saying anything.
Yeah, it's gonna be a.
I think it was like a mental thing. I was like worried that I would be starting to broadcast what you guys were all discussing.
Well, we were discussing pussy candles.
Yeah, let's just stop right there. So, I'm Vallen. I'll be playing as Palkas, wild magic sorcerer, half orc.
Well, the rest of us stare blankly at you because we can't hear nothing. Never mind.
And let's move on to the next person. We got playing as Thorn.
Hi, I'm Ghostwoods. Thorn is an elven ranger, greenstalker. Yeah, that's him.
Mm-hmm. And very scary in the first round of combat, I tell you what. And then,
well, as long as he's rested.
Okay. Right. Well, I mean, that goes for any of us, really. So, continuing
Rest,
on.
what's that?
Playing as Grim.
I'm Nobby, and like Vallen said, I am playing Grim, a shifter monk, more or less, an all-around grouchy cat.
All-around nice guy.
Yeah,
everybody
that too.
Very agreeable. Everyone loves him. And then moving on down, playing as Coyra.
I'm Shy. I'm playing as Coyra, a half-elf druid. And I think I finally know what I'm doing. Kind of.
And then playing as Malvola.
I am Nightcaste. I'm playing Malvola. He's a Dragonborn Hexblade Warlock.
And then, of course, moving up from there, we've got Kashcah.
Yep, hi, I'm Kashcah. I'm DM for this campaign.
Okay. Let's do a
Otherwise known as the arbiter of our character's fate.
That's ultimately us. She's just trying to keep us alive. I used to think that she was trying to kill us. Honestly, I'm pretty sure she's trying to do everything to stop that from happening.
No, I'm still convinced she's out to get me.
Despite her.
Just you.
Yeah, well, okay.
The rest of them.
Maybe you.
I didn't say anything about anybody else, just me. How many characters can I make Nobby go through in this campaign?
So last episode, we are currently in the basement level of the Vanthampur mansion, which seems to be connected to a sewer line, like a main sewers, and has multiple strange and hidden rooms, as well as kind of like this entire cult, basically located in the bowels of the mansion. We attempted to take a rest in the bedroom of what we can only guess to be one of the Vanthampurs, probably the one we just ran into, in the sewers under the mansion. We fortified the door and tried, but we were interrupted by a group of cultists, and they had brought along a devil friend from the main worship chamber, which we had previously tried bluffing across by earlier. It didn't really work out. But through many maneuvers, we ultimately were victorious, though still exhausted. We moved on to the room of worship, realizing that it was most likely to be empty at this point since they came for us. And we decided to try and settle down there for a rest, but instead we found 2 secret doors in the process of trying to procure blankets by accident. What? What?
Blame Palkas.
Something I never anticipated he would do is find secret doors, specifically in a plural. But one of them led out into the stables above ground, while the other led to a secret chamber of worship with Duke Thalambra Vanthampur, in it. The Vanthampur mother. The one that we've been looking for, and the one that we've been constantly told about her legendary abilities to destroy those before her. Thus,
And now we've just come face to face with her.
episode 14 begins. Mama the Vanthampur. Vanthampur. Okay, Kashcah. I don't remember the exact details. I think Grim was like investigating, and oh, that's right. I said, hey, can you like open the door nice so I don't have to smash it? And you're like, yeah, and you did.
Opened it, checked it. Oh, hey, look.
And then she was having a peaceful moment in there.
So yeah, you open the door and she is kneeling before this altar. She's wearing very fine clothing, kind of fit for a noble. You don't see any weapons on her, but she is certainly not some frail wallflower kind of lady. She, looks like she's definitely related to what's his name, Morlock. Like she's looks muscly, kind of, like steadfast lady. And she makes eye contact with you, Grim, and it's this kind of steely-eyed kind of glare, and then she begins to stand up. So that's what she's doing. So over to you.
You must be the Duke, I take it. They kind of motion behind me for Palkas, pointing toward the other room, like, get everybody else. Hopefully he understands what I'm trying to convey. We've been looking for you.
Palkas, you're not sure if Grim's farted or what's going on there, but there's some kind of like hand motion.
This is where she tries to kill just you, remember? Palkas would actually say quite loudly, "We found somebody in a secret room."
ever the master of subtlety.
The stealthiest of us all. Okay, is this candlestick blocking?
Oh, let me.
So it is kind of like in the way, but you're certainly able to kind of move past it. Yeah, the candles are lit.
I'm debating whether I want to move into the room or not.
Well,
crap.
Diplomacy is your strong suit. I suggest you wield it.
Diplomacy.
Wow.
You're suggesting this is the guy who just farted in front of him.
For the charisma of 10, I'm the diplomatic one.
Hey.
I kind of already expended the full extent of my diplomatic relations.
You've talked your way out of every battle we've been in so far, right? So just continue on with that.
Are we remembering different battles?
Very strong.
I usually did talking with my fists.
Maybe that's what he's talking about.
In orc culture, that is diplomacy.
Mm-hmm. How are you today?
Okay, is there enough space in between this altar and the wall to like stand behind the altar?
Yeah. I'm
gonna kind of move over in between the wall and the altar. That way, if I have to, I can duck.
Okay.
Behind the altar.
She says, when you say you must be the Duke, she kind of finishes kind of standing up, and she is a fairly intimidating looking woman. She's tall, she's muscly, she's no kind of she's fairly heavy on her feet kind of thing. And she says, how oh my gosh, and suddenly words leave my head. She says, how observant of you. Of course I am the Duke. The question is, who are you?
I'm one of the ones that, well, let's just say you have a few less cultists and Devil Dude. He's on the floor in the hallway. And we've been hearing some pretty bad stuff about you. Something about trying to drag Baldur's Gate into hell. Your boy, the slippery one, Amric. He's been filling us in.
Wow. So
I'm
I'm
like,
seeing the roll of 2
so-
for stealth from Palkas.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is gonna be more for my role playing efforts, but yeah, Palkas is gonna try and do like a say quietly, but it's gonna be more like a really loud stage whisper. He's like, I think it's the matron of the Vanthampurs. She's in there having a conversation with Grim. And he tries to say it whisperedly, but it seems to come out maybe even louder than his normal talking voice.
So,
Question.
oh, go on.
Are these lights on?
Yes,
Like, those are candles, right?
they are candles, yeah.
Coyra tells us, what if we take out the candles, make it dark in here? Maybe she has some issues seeing us.
Maybe.
Good idea, maybe. But she's not in here.
Right now, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to buy time for the rest of these chuckleheads to get in here.
Okay. She says, hearing Palkas in the other room, she says, Grim, is it? She says, I've never heard of you. She says, but I'll give you one chance to leave. She says, this is nothing to do with you at the moment, but I can certainly make you my business if you don't leave immediately.
Such a
She
kind
wants to
and-
give him the business.
such a kind and generous offer. As I'm talking, I'm looking at the altar, see what I can,
Yeah, okay.
at least a cursory glance, see what I can see about it.
So the altar looks, it's this huge black lump of stone. It looks like it's made of obsidian, like one single piece of obsidian, which is pretty impressive. And it has, on the top of it, tiny infernal runes carved in a ring around this angel-shaped flame that is erupting from its top. And the angel-shaped flame is probably only about like 9 inches tall. So that's kind of erupting from the top of the altar, and there's this ring of I think you said you spoke infernal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, ring of infernal runes carved into the top of it around that.
I'm trying to remember, is it Zerial?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's
Does
the-
it seem to be an altar to her or something along those lines?
Yeah, and looking actually at the flame, it does seem to kind of bear a vague resemblance to Zariel herself.
In which case, to Miss Duke. See, I just have one little problem with your offer. You worship, serve, whatever, a Duke of Hell. And I kind of point to basically move so that she can see the symbol on my belt. I serve somebody else who, sorry, but that kind of puts us naturally at odds.
She says, well, in that case,
May I ask a question?
oh yeah, sorry, if you guys are doing stuff, please.
Like I said, I'm just buying time until you guys get in there.
Alright,
Coyra is
well,
just doing this to Ray, like, come over.
What's Rhea's reaction to all this?
Rhea is, yeah, she is moving up with interest. She's kind of like trying to see and hear what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
What about everybody else?
Palkas would just like to slowly walk into the room. trying not to provoke anything, and just ultimately, he wants to. Let's see if I can click on him. He wants to, like, without doing attacks of opportunity or anything, because there's conversation perhaps going on. Don't know. He would like to just casually walk across over here.
Yeah, she won't let you get that far.
Okay. So I don't know how far you would let her go.
If you try to kind of move past her,
Mm-hmm.
she will kind of step to block you.
Okay.
She says, "Your friend, Grim." And she says, "And who are you?" Who are you? Except she doesn't say it in that owl voice.
Actually, while her attention's on Palkas, I'm going to start moving this way.
He kind of like
make room for everybody else to come in.
he kind of tries to stand like close, like chest to chest, a bit to her, not like, you know, running into her or anything, but kind of trying to like size her up. Don't know if she's taller than him or shorter or what. But
wait, how tall are you?
I think I'm 6'6".
You stand kind of eye to eye with her.
Okay. All right.
Okay, she really is a big woman.
Oh yeah, I mean, just looking at that picture, she's like
I looked
Gina Carano in 40 years.
He's looking to see if she's a spellcaster, if she has like spell components or some kind of obvious focus upon her, like a spellcasting focus on her, anything of those sorts.
No, she does not have any of that visible. Make a perception check though to see like what else you notice about her.
Meanwhile, Coyra moved into the secret corridor, sees the Grim actually wants us to be there, or at least gets the feeling, so she does the sign like, hey, we should be there.
Okay, you said she had no weapons. She doesn't move like a monk, does she?
So yeah, perception check. Palkas, you're kind of not noticing a lot, but yeah, she does not. Palkas and Grim and Thorn as well. You'll see she is unarmed. She doesn't appear to have any kind of pouches or bags or, you know, anything like that on her. She's very much as you see her in that picture.
Palkas doesn't actually answer her. He just stands there sizing her up.
Gonna keep kind of moving around, you know, making room.
Okay. At this she'll
as much as until she tries to prevent.
At this she'll kind of step back, seeing that there's more people, and says, "Oh, a full party. Oh, do come in," she says, and it's like dripping with kind of sarcasm.
Oh, I'm invited. I'm invited.
Something, I mean, this seems really suspicious to me. Can I roll insight to try and get a sense of why?
I mean, as
wait,
long as you've
why?
got line of sight for Edward's boot.
Wait, what are you trying to figure out, Malvola? Like why she's in there, or like
there's something. No, just her as a, you know. I'm having a hard time putting into words the thought process.
It's almost like she's kind of a little too agreeable with everybody coming in.
Well, it's
she's
like
obviously outnumbered.
Yeah, that's part of it. But just I don't know how to phrase what I'm thinking.
Palkas
I guess we'll just move on.
Palkas just kind of like looks at her a bit upon her saying that, and doesn't think or do anything on it. Just sees that there's already 3 people in the room, and steps outside of the door and just waits and listens.
Okay. She'll actually she's going to kind of take a step forward like this. And she says, "Well, now I know at least one of your names. Perhaps you could be so kind as to tell me what you are doing here."
Where's
thought
the
I already
book of
told you that.
fragments?
You've got evil cultists, and yeah, that can't be allowed.
She says, "So what do you want?"
The book of fragments, where is it?
She
Oh
says,
yeah, he's got that whole thing.
she kind of, when you say the Book of Fragments, her eyes shoot to you, Thorn, and she says, "Certainly a long way from here."
Then she's no use. Might as well stab her.
She says,
Coyra is
"Do you
But
make
that-
a
I didn't say
habit?"
that. I didn't actually. I
okay.
didn't say that.
All right.
I just wanted to rate stab her a couple of
Coyra is just aggot
failed to stab her.
So you're gonna.
Probably failed the second time.
Okay. So we're actually.
Okay.
Thorn's feeling a bit twitchy.
Oh,
Yeah. All right.
So
Yep. The
we're
second one
entering
does
combat.
hit.
Great.
If it's
Okay,
a Vanthampur, it's a stabber.
We didn't get any kind of rest, did we?
Only a
Nope.
short rest.
Unfortunately, not.
Oh, we did get a short rest?
Mm-hmm.
Not in this room, but in the previous one in the bedroom, we did.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about, like, since we came into the big room,
No.
No.
the worship room.
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
All right. Let's roll some initiative.
Okay.
So Thorn gets
But I
this
don't want to.
kind of surprise round. Oh, I always.
Yes,
forget.
I'm not first.
Thorn initiates combat and looks like goes first.
Yep.
That was a lucky roll.
Rhea. I need to roll for Rhea. Okay. Is that everybody? Wow, Rhea.
She's really eager for combat.
She's back in form, I see.
Yeah.
So much for those numbers from last week.
Yeah. Alright, yeah, Thorn. It is your turn. You did take her by surprise, so.
Okay. I'm just down to standard deck.
Let me
Oh, that
introduce
hits.
you to my little friend.
Okay.
That's me.
Alright. Anything else you would like to do? Anything else you want to do, Thorn? Or
You're muted.
Sorry, I thought I said no. I
sorry, sorry,
I'm good.
sorry. This is the downside about having one monitor is I can't see people. Palkas.
Whether he knew that Thorn, he probably could have pieced together that Thorn would have stabbed her, because he was kind of seeing that coming regardless. So I think he was just going to wait. He didn't have anything in mind at this point. He was hoping that people would get some information out of her, but he doesn't think that anybody's in danger, and he's just going to let it play out right now.
Okay, so you're kind of just hanging out there for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Malvola, what about you?
I don't know, I've been kind of watching this exchange kind of through the can't get a really clear view, but I'm trying to assess like how she does what she does aside from force of personality, because you have to get to the point of being the Duke somehow, and before you can just do stuff because you're the. And I still don't. The math doesn't add up with this woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of observing, not really taking an action.
Okay, no props. Alright, Coyra.
Coyra just loudly says, "Oh no, he stabbed her." So that the others outside know what happened inside. Just so they know. And I ready my Thorn Whip just in case. I'm gonna hold off with doing anything but
Okay.
I ready my Thorn Whip.
Okay. Grim?
To punch or not to punch?
The question.
Well, I was thinking it was more of a to light up her world or not to light up her world.
She
To
seems
die or not
unarmed
to
right
die?
now.
Yes, but
At the very least, I'm going to move over here because I don't like the idea of us bunched up.
Mm.
Okay.
What are you doing?
The torso.
And I'm actually gonna hold an attack to see if she. The odds are she's gonna be aggressive because Thorn stabbed her.
Yep.
It's a pretty
mean,
good guess.
I wouldn't be happy if someone just casually stabs.
You know what?
I'm waiting for her to be like, Arms of Hadar!
Yeah.
All right, Sunbolt. Yes, that
Yay.
hits her.
And for bonus action,
Oh,
Brighter
ow.
disposition.
just a little bit of radiant damage to
Okay.
help brighten her mood.
All right.
Yeah, she needs to get a bit of a tan. She's been down here too long.
And that pretty much does it for my turn.
I mean,
Since
she's
I
had
don't have any
30,
key points.
she's had 38 damage, so she clearly has character.
Yeah. I'm.
But it's okay.
Yep.
Thorn is good punching back.
Now, how's she going to retaliate?
Yeah.
Teleport.
Don't give the DM ideas. Thanks.
So she
This isn't even her final
she
form.
kind of clutches at the wounds that that Thorn has given her, where she's kind of bleeding from this unexpected stabs, and she kind of looks up at you, Thorn, and it's kind of a mixture of like surprise and like disgust and anger in her face. And if only she had one. And
I get that a lot.
she casts a spell.
Oh, crap.
And then she's going to quickly move in this direction. So you do get an attack of opportunity, Thorn.
Okay, great.
Okay, yeah, that hits.
Thank you.
Okay, so and you need so Thorn, could you make a dexterity saving throw, please?
Sure.
Oh, crap.
That's never a nice idea.
No, I think she's probably more of Malvola's type of caster.
So when you damage her, this unexpected consequence happens where you are suddenly engulfed by hellish flames
Ooh.
and
Hellish rebuke.
take 13 points of fire damage. So that's a thing that happens, and she is going to try and push Rhea aside. She just takes one of these kind of really beefy, muscly arms and just kind of puts it up as she kind of tries to push past Rhea. So I'm going to give Rhea a strength check versus. Okay, so Rhea gets kind of pushed roughly aside as she wait, so hang on, let me see how far she goes. 50. Okay, so she ends up around there. She pushes Rhea aside and rushes past you, Palkas and Malvola. And she doesn't even really look at you, Malvola or Rhea. And Palkas, she'll just kind of, she looks at you with this same kind of disgust in her face, and you can see though that she's bleeding from a couple of wounds and seems to have also been a little scorched, perhaps. And that ends her turn.
Wouldn't Palkas and Malvola get attacks of opportunity?
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
And possibly even Rhea, since she pushed past.
If they hadn't entered combat
Also-
with her.
That's true.
Yeah, that was
Question
my.
for in the future. For example, if I have my Thorn Whip, can I hold an action for as a reaction?
Thorn
You
Whip it.
specify what the
Hmm.
trigger is exactly, yeah. So you can say, if she attacks Thorn, I'll Thorn with her. Or if she
Okay.
warns,
So
Thorn with her.
if I give it a figure, okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how it
Yeah.
works.
Thorn Whip is a spell. It's not an item. So that's just
Basically, when you say I'm holding an action to use Thorn Whip if she tries to escape,
Okay.
what you're
that's how
doing
it
is
works.
you're actually casting the spell,
Mhm.
but you're not releasing it until
Mhm.
she tries to escape. And even if she doesn't, you've still cast the spell and you can just cancel it
Okay.
if you don't end up triggering
So it does.
it. You know?
Yeah, it's kind of like a bit of a risk, right? Because if your trigger doesn't happen, then you've kind of burned the spell.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, it's a cantrip, though, isn't it?
It is a cantrip.
Yeah.
I was gonna say when it's
It
a
is.
cantrip, it's not a big
Yeah.
deal, but
That's true. Yeah,
Indeed.
Yeah.
totally not.
But yeah, helps me understand that better.
Okay. Yeah. So Rhea is yeah, and I didn't give attacks of opportunity because you guys haven't entered combat yet.
The only thing Palkas had intended on doing was keeping her in there, but a grapple is not really something I had prepared or expected her to just bust through like that. So
Okay. All right. So she's making a run for, well, out of that room. Rhea kind of puts two and two together, and she is going to place herself here, and she looks at the Duke and says, "You're not leaving until we have the answers we require." And she is going to, she looks like she has her longsword at the ready. Okay, Thorn, back to you.
Okay. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. There.
Hello.
Hack at her again. That's my couch.
Oh, that will hit again.
Ooh,
Okay.
nice.
Roll20 really likes you.
Is that extra fee if you pay that extra fee? No, I'm just kidding.
yeah. I'm like, how much are you paying them?
It's worth every penny.
Hmm.
So,
apparently he's just started paying them since last week.
Yeah, Elsie was
that sucked
obvious.
last week.
hang on 1 second, let me look at one thing quickly.
Roll20 knows it's got to make it believable.
Okay, alright, so that's fine. Okay, then there's nothing that she does about that. Palkas.
Mr. Palkas moves over here. And then says, boom. And he does his small attack. Does 21 hit.
Nice.
21 does hit.
Okay, so then
And could you move?
just 8 bludgeoning. I rolled a 1 as one of the dice. But she is now shimmering in thunderous energy. Or she is encased in thunderous energy. And he will proceed to, let's see, that was 10 feet there. So 10 feet. He's gonna go here.
Okay. And she's going to take an attack of opportunity on you.
He cannot because
Oh, because you're
of my mobility feat.
Stop. Listen.
And he says, "There's no escape. Stay where you are." Because if you don't, you'll regret it.
What's your feat again? Is mobility? Is that it?
It is mobile.
Mobile.
Here, I will click it for you. There you go.
Okay. Alright, so you just have to... Got it. Alright, Freud. Then, Malvola.
Yes, very. Yeah, I'm just gonna give it to her.
Okay.
I don't know if this does a 17 armor class,
That hits.
so that's another 8.
Okay. She is still standing.
And I'm going to. Yeah, I'm gonna back up Palkas.
Okay. And Coyra?
Coyra moves up to here, uses her Thorn Whip Thorn Whip, and definitely misses.
Okay.
Oops.
And Grim. Everybody's left. There was a party and not so much anymore.
I'm gonna.
She's
go
the life of the
there.
party, truth be told.
Not for much longer the way you
Yeah,
guys are
in
going.
case she doesn't try to. In case there's anything left after this, so she doesn't try to backtrack.
Okay. She does not look good at all at this point.
Well, we knew that.
Wow. So rude. That one also hits.
Oh, that one hits too?
That one hits too. It does.
Okay, so another 5 points of radiant damage.
Okay.
And that's it for me.
She looks like she
I'm
is.
gonna block the doorway.
Okay. Alright. She, She's going
Kind of
to,
one of those. Where's your threats now?
she's going to try and do the same again. She's going to try. So you get another attack of opportunity, Thorn.
Before that happens, she gets that.
Yeah, she takes the booming damage.
Yep, and she does not make it to Rhea. And she also gets stabbed by Thorn. So
As she's falling, he's just like,
Well, so much for getting information out.
Why do they never listen?
Rhea kind of like looks at like the Duke kind of stumbles forward. You know, she's like clutching at the candlestick, and then just like she's clearly dying. You know, and there's from the wounds that she's taken, clutches at the candlestick and then collapses on the floor in front of Rhea. And Rhea just looks at her and looks up at the rest of you, and says, "Why would you just kill her? How is this helpful?"
Palkas runs over and, as usual, pulls out the medical kit, and while he's running over, says, "Why do they never listen?"
But we still have
I
Amric.
did nothing.
Maybe Amric will now take us to where you're.
Palkas
Hang on,
would
let
attempt.
me ask him.
Rhea's just shaking her head. And she
Okay.
just
Coyra
says,
is actually questioning if
This-
this was the real Duke.
and she says,
Looking
"This
at Rhea,
violence
don't
is
worry,
meaningless."
and then cast Spare the Dying.
forget what that does.
on the Duke. Basically, at this point, once that's cast, she's unconscious at 0 hit points. She's not actually dead.
Well, it depends on how dead she was. If she was going down after Palkas's booming blade, then my stab was 2 automatic death failures, or vice versa. So she could be dead already.
Yeah.
Whether dying or not.
Also, maybe I'm sorry if I haven't mentioned this before, but maybe I don't know. Maybe we didn't encounter this kind of situation yet. But when it's not a PC, right? They are dead. There's no like med kit to try and stabilize them or death saving throws or anything like that.
Okay, I'll stop.
Because otherwise, you guys could run around like.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put that in chat.
Oh, no worries. But,
I was trying to open it up.
Yeah, but like, so there's no kind of bringing her, there's no opportunity to save her. Like when you
Okay, so she's dead.
She's dead.
I didn't murder her. I just singed her a little bit. I'm gonna go back and take another look at this altar.
Okay.
Coyra is just asking, like, was this the real Duke? She was kind of weaker than I expected.
Palkas says nobles don't necessarily mean that they're strong. They just wield power.
Rhea is like crouching down over her and
Where she sent your entire city down.
Yeah, she dragged the city to hell.
You know, be glad
you
she's
would
dead.
have some power then.
Rhea looks at Coyra and says, I don't understand. She says, this is not how we handle.
I didn't do anything. I was just a mere witness this time. Yeah, I also thought we needed info from her. I agree with you.
Meanwhile, Palkas
goon
is...
a pack of criminals and send them out to do vigilante justice.
Palkas is going through her pockets for any useful items, bits, bods, or information. Like he does with everyone.
Yeah. Right, too. Waste not, want not.
So,
I mean, she's not going to use it anymore.
That's how he survived in prison, so yeah.
So she has, like I said, she doesn't have anything visible on her. When literally the only thing to look through is her clothing, and you do find pockets on her dress, which seriously, pockets on dresses. I mean,
it's a good
props
dress.
to
I
her
wish.
for.
I wish.
But anyway,
it's a good dress.
So so you do find she has pockets on this dress, and one of the pockets has 2 keys. One of them is smaller. There's like a small one and a regular size key.
He just holds onto him and continues searching to see if there's anything else.
That is
Check
all you
jewelry
find.
as well, just in case.
Okay. I found 2 keys on her.
Yeah, she is wearing like some fairly kind of mundane looking jewelry. She has like some earrings on and looks like family ring.
So while Palkas is doing that, I'm going to go back to Amric in the fridge.
Coyra is actually gonna follow you.
Okay, that's cool.
We've actually only taken out 2 of the 4.
I'm actually going to loosen the gag on his mouth this time.
While they're doing that, I don't know if it'll actually do anything to it, but the altar is kind of offensive. So I'm going to hurl a sunbolt at it, at the flame portion of it, and then start looking around the room, see if there's anything else to this room.
Okay.
Question, is the turn order over?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me get rid of that. So let's start with Grim, because you did say you were going in there earlier on. So you throw a sunbolt at the altar, and it some of the runes are damaged by this, and you kind of see this, and it looks like nothing's happening for a moment, and then you see this crack kind of splinter away from where you hit it, and it just grows quite rapidly, and then the whole altar cracks into.
What
did you do?
It's kind of like this really
Okay,
loud
I wasn't quite
crack
expecting that kind of reaction, but I just found the altar offensive and decided to, mess it up a little bit.
Good work.
But I don't think anybody's going to be using that altar for a while.
Are you taking her jewelry, Palkas?
Her jewelry?
Yes.
I didn't know she was wearing jewelry. I thought she just had a couple of keys.
Oh,
She said she was wearing like rings and stuff.
Mundane jewelry.
Sorry, could you say that? The squeaky chairs. I can't hear.
I said she's wearing some earrings and has what looks like some family rings on.
Some family rings on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, they don't look like they're particularly like, they're not like giant diamonds or anything like that. Or
Yeah, he'd take them if he thinks that he could get money for them. Then yeah.
okay. Rhea will kind of like, she's giving you a lot of side eye while you're doing it.
Palkas says she has no use for it and she has a lot to pay for.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then over to the fridge. So Thorn, you kind of loosen his gag a little bit. And...
Yeah. So I'm going to smile at Amric Pleasant and say, well, it looks like you're the last Vanthampur left in the cell, chap. Congratulations. Your demon cult is kind of wiped out. You might need to find another line of business if you survive. If you'd like to do that, then we still want to find Flavor Creek, or whatever he's called, with the minimum of fuss.
Flavor Creek? Find this like fat, like frosted tipped haired dwarf.
Pepperidge Farms, remember?
He's in a shirt with like a flame pattern and ugly sunglasses.
I'm
sure
not
it's
just
Exactly
imagining
what I'm
us.
thinking.
I imagine
Sure
us
it's a
going to
dwarf
Flavor
with a
Town.
barbarian.
So tell us where he is, old chap, and maybe we'll come and cut you down. Everyone else is dead. So,
He says,
no one's going to come and find you unless you have some, minion somewhere that wasn't in the house or the sewers or your outbuilding or on the grounds or something. We've been quite thorough, I'm afraid, except for the cat. The cat is lovely.
he says,
Actually, poor
with-
cat.
he says with a lot of fear in his eyes, he says, my mother?
Oh, yes.
And he kind of like looks like he's trying to just process, the whole kind of thing for a minute and weigh like his options. So he's kind of like just
That
quiet
was
for
my
a
bad, I'm
moment.
afraid. I mean, I'm sure you'll miss her and stuff, but she did seem like a really loathsome old lad. And I've been having a trying day. All I want is some sleep.
You're an elf, aren't you? You don't sleep.
But some meditation.
Figure of speech, I'm sure.
Yeah,
He says,
I can pretend, damn it.
he says, cut me loose and take me to the wine cellar. He says, and I will tell you there where you can find the gentleman you're looking for.
Counter offer. Tell me now, and what we found him, maybe we'll send a watch down for you.
He says, well, cut me down and I'll take you there.
No,
He's
no,
like,
you're a Weasley little fucker. It's not happening.
It's true.
and you're a murdering bastard, so yeah. It's
Coyra is just there, like chuckling a little bit out.
he says, there's a stretch of sewer with no, a stretch of tunnel with no sewer in it. He says, if you follow that, he says, you'll see a large door. That is where he is hiding. He says, you can't miss it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Pleasure doing business with you. I'll pop the gag back in first.
He kind of like, he will try to resist that, and, yeah, he kind of looks at, he doesn't even look at you, Thorn. He's just looking at you, Coyra. His eyes are wide and wild looking, and he's like tossing his head.
Shut.
He's doing what? Sorry?
He's
The
like
last
tossing his head around, trying to resist this gag that that Thorn is trying to force in his mouth.
And his nostrils closed.
Coyra knows what kind of lunatic Thorn can be. And she's like, yeah, she just walks out of the room like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with this.
Nope. Coyra just nopes right now. Amric obviously eventually has to open his mouth some to breathe. So yeah, you'll get the better of him, Thorn.
Don't worry, everything will be great. You know, sort of. And then let's head back to here.
So, is there anything of interest in this room other than the now broken?
A broken altar.
Okay, you want some big chunks of obsidian?
How many pieces do we have? Maybe we can make another pool.
We've only got 2, it won't be enough.
Darn.
That is really all that's in here, is this altar and the 2 candlesticks. And there's sleep wolves going on.
It smells like dripping water.
Oh, yeah, you're right, it does.
They're like,
but there's nothing else in the room. It's a very kind of plain room aside from that. Wow, she's
Okay.
really excited about what she's
Just
doing.
because I'm curious, since there seems to be trap or secret doors all over this stupid place, I'm actually going to take a look at the walls
Okay.
around the room.
Yeah, make a hang on. Investigation.
Ah, crap. I was afraid you'd say that. Wow, okay.
Never mind.
You
So-
are super confident that you searched
Well,
this room
that's
really well.
happening. Coyra just picks up the tapestry that she tried to use as a blanket earlier, just so she has a blanket later.
Okay.
Yes, cool.
Okay.
So, nothing?
Nothing.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to sit down in the corner.
Okay.
Or facing the door and meditate.
You're just like, I'm done. I'm not
I'm
going
gonna at least get a short rest, dang it.
So Coyra, you have now a blanket that depicts one of the levels of the 9 levels of hell.
Maybe it's warm?
Maybe.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm going to tell Rhea, begging her pardon, what Amric said, and point out that, if Palkas has keys and the stretch of corridor without any sewer in it is the one just out and then to the left. So once Grim is feeling a bit less drained, we'll go and see if we can find her boss.
Hearing this, Rhea holds her hand out to you, Palkas. She says, I would like the key, please.
he takes are the 2 keys on a single ring?
No, they weren't on a ring at all, actually.
Sorry, I just got back. Does he know which key she's talking about? The
The
small one or the larger one?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Thorn was talking about opening a door, so...
Okay, whichever one looks like it might open a door.
Okay. Yeah, it's the larger one.
He'd hold
The
that
smaller
out to
one
her.
looks too little. So you give her the key?
Yeah.
Okay. She steps over the body of the Duke and says, how long do you need?
Is she asking me?
She's asking kind of in general.
Okay. Sorry, I missed it. I was taking care of the pup.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. I think Thorn said the
Grim
Grim's
normally
taking
needs
her.
an hour, but I can come and back you up. I'm okay. I can come and back you up if you want back up. I promise not to attack anything you don't tell me to.
I'll go with you if you're more comfortable.
She says, it's okay, we can wait.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, let's sit down for an hour then.
For now. Wait, what? We're doing a short rest?
We're doing a short rest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. During this time, Palkas will end up trying to convince Rhea how this is a perfect example of the corruptness of nobility, and how
She says to you, Palkas, when you're partway through like your first sentence, don't talk to me.
Right.
And this is why I'm glad I'm in a different room.
I agree. This room is more peaceful.
She says, how can you just rob the dead like that? She says, I don't care, what they've done, but surely following their lead makes you just as bad.
Palkas says, she's dead. She doesn't need this stuff. Besides, she didn't need it when she was living.
She says, but it still doesn't make it yours.
All the lives she's taken, and she has nothing to pay for it?
She says, that's not yours to dole out. She says, do you have any authority to judge her and dispense with that judgment? She says, by what authority do you do you act?
My own. I'm bound to no authority. I only try to accommodate those rules that I favor.
She says, well, isn't that convenient? She says, pick and choose which rules you get to obey.
Yes.
Says, well,
Yes.
if
It's quite
everybody,
nice, actually. You should try it.
if everybody lived like that, what would society be like? She says, oh wait, I'm in Baldur's Gate. I can see exactly what that's like. She says, the sooner we leave the city, the better.
Okay.
I will point out that if she didn't take the keys, or that if Palkas didn't take the keys off of her corpse,
I do.
your friend who's locked up in the other room, wherever, is going to stay there because she's got the keys on her car.
She says the keys are one thing. She says it's
Extras.
she said he removed her earrings. She says, you don't seem particularly short on cash.
And Palkas says, do you know how many mouths this will feed when it's melted down and redistributed?
She says, oh, is that what you plan to do? Are you Robin Hood now?
Would she know who Robin
Who?
You know what I mean. I mean this.
And honestly, he has a major Robin Hood complex. It's actually on his character sheet. So if it is a well-known folk tale, he'll say, he is one of my heroes, and I take to heart his teachings.
She says, so the cash you just got for rounding up cultists, says you gave that all away already, huh?
We haven't exactly had any opportunity.
Okay.
When lives are on the line, that's the priority. There was an entire city destroyed, remember?
She just sighs, a big sigh. Says, again, here we are with you picking and choosing which moments you choose to be virtuous.
Well, I can't be everywhere at once.
Says, thank God for that.
She sounds so happy. I bet she's lovely at parties.
Simply the life of the party. Thankfully, it's nice and quiet where I am.
So that conversation actually went better than I thought it would. But so, what is our next objective while we're resting? I kind of missed that.
Go and find Flavor Creek.
Flavor Creek. I thought it was out by Pepperidge Farms.
Flavor Town.
No, that's on the other end of town.
Oh, right.
So, anybody doing anything during this hours rest time?
Resting.
Meditating.
Nope. I got no hit dice left. I got no spells left.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no hit dice left, but at least I got my key points back and my ability to shift.
All I've
That's
got
well
is
worth reflecting.
I've got
I
my
have hit dice left.
wonderful conversation piece with Rhea.
Yeah.
Keep me warm.
And thankfully, I didn't have to endure the conversation.
Okay, so
In
the
fact, I won't know that anybody's ready to leave until somebody pokes their head in and lets Coyra and I know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Else we'll be here for the longest
Otherwise,
time,
we're taking a long rest.
which is fine too.
just sleeping. Just gonna sleep the day away. Yeah, so there's no interruption to your hour.
Cool.
Have they even noticed that Coyra and Grim aren't in the room with them?
Yeah.
So
Maybe we get along.
I personally walked away to take care of the dog.
I knew
so
that you were
missed that.
in there, and you haven't come out this way. So unless you like fell in a hole, I figure you're still in there.
Thought
Or
maybe
found another way out.
Palkas probably would have wandered in there, and, wondering where you two were. Seeing that you were both having a moment in the room together, Palkas would walk away.
Not the way that sounded.
They're snogging.
There's at least 10 feet between us.
When two shapeshifters really like each other.
Wow. I'll start calling you Remus and Tonks.
Oh boy.
Just had to go there. Just... Anyway, do you guys let us know when you're ready to move on?
Yeah. We will
I'm
do.
ready.
After an hour, we'll come and.
Be right back.
So I can safely use one of my hit dice, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You can use however many of your hit dice you need to heal up.
I only needed 2 points.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I needed 4 points. Leave me alone.
I need 5 points, but I'm out of hit dice. So
I would give you one, but I can't.
Yeah.
if we took a long rest, I could heal myself. But
But you don't need it then.
yeah. But I'm probably going to need it later the way this thing.
Indeed.
When we get out of here, my first agenda is take a nice long rest.
Yeah.
Indeed. I agree.
Alright, so Rhea says, "Are we ready?"
Yes. Yes, we are.
So with
So
that,
where are we going?
with that, she makes a move for the door. She says,
Follow the rear. Left and left again. And there's a nice, big, obvious door, apparently.
so she's going to kind of lead the way, and she'll go like along here, and then she'll go down here.
I'm gonna zoom out.
I'm taking the shortcut.
Since when can Coyra go through walls?
Well,
During
one of
the-
my many hidden abilities.
Apparently Thorn and Palkas can too. Wow.
Okay, so
Did you guys teach me how to do that?
You just run into a wall and hope you're Harry Potter.
Yeah. Exactly.
Run toward a wall and go sideways.
so this door does seem well, first, yeah, it seems more sturdy than previous doors.
The
There's,
one at the bottom.
yeah, there's one at the bottom. Yeah. It's one thing that you notice as well that's different is that this one has a locking mechanism, and it's quite a quite an obvious locking mechanism as well. So it does actually kind of almost look like a vault door,
Cool.
as opposed to
Cool
like
to say.
one of these other regular doors. So Rhea will kind of proceed up, and she unlocks the door, or she puts the key in the lock, gives it a try, and it certainly fits and works. So she unlocks the door, and she opens the door. Unless anybody's stopping her, she's just kind of proceeding.
No.
Okay. So she
Coyra
opens.
is looking into this corridor just to see if she can see anything there.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And
that-
since curiosity hasn't killed this kitty cat yet, I'm going to take a peek in the room
Oh, in that room?
or through the door that I'm standing by.
Okay. All right. Certain doom.
You know, make sure nobody can
Boop, 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 boop.
potentially come up on us. Hopefully.
So this way, tunnel
I think
continues.
it's just an exit from the barracks, probably. I hope it's just an exit from the barracks.
So this is what you see in there. Let me describe that to you. One moment. This room has 4 wooden wardrobes standing against the walls, and a door to the north.
So if you wanted to open an evil menswear shop,
So that's that room, and then down at the bottom here, where you guys are beyond the vault door, you see what looks like the edge of a couple of wooden tables. Oh, excuse me. And looks like there are kind of small wooden chests on top of those tables. Hanging opposite the door is a beautiful golden shield. That is what you see here. And standing in front of the shield is an old man in plain garments carrying a lit candlestick. As he turns to face the door, he kind of looks at Rhea with some kind of surprise. And Rhea says, Your Highness, Krieg, is that really you? And she moves into the room. She's kind of gonna move up a bit, like that. Okay. She looks extremely relieved. What's everybody else doing?
I was backing up Grim.
Okay.
I just let Palkas know, hey, there's wardrobes in there if you want to loot them. He seems to like doing that stuff, so.
I'm backing up Rhea.
Okay. Coyra and Malvola, you...
Yeah, I would proceed into the room too.
I'm just waiting outside of the room.
Okay.
Palkas would take a brief glance inside the wardrobes just to see what is inside them.
You couldn't resist, could you?
Why not?
You see...
Someone has to be treasure-minded in this house.
You see robes and masks.
Okay. Leaves.
See, Thorn's bloodthirsty, Palkas is greedy.
Coyra hates wood.
Hey, Coyra, there's some dead wood back here.
Oh no! The horror!
Okay, so Rhea steps forward again and drops to one knee, and actually here I'm just gonna reveal the rest of the room like this. Boop. So you see that actually total there are 4 tables, each with 2 kind of wooden coffers on top, these small wooden chests on top of the table, and Rhea drops to one knee with her head kind of bowed in front of Fabius, and says, I knew you had survived. I'm so glad I found you.
I'm still super suspicious, and I'm like ready to fight
Okay,
at this point.
looking through the door, what kind of room is this?
It looks very much like a vault, right? There are tables, with small wooden coffers on top.
Okay, I'm just throwing this out there.
Big
If
shiny
he's a
shield.
prisoner, why is he in the vault
It's a good
Secure
jail.
place.
instead of a cell?
So could everybody make a perception check, please?
Uh-oh.
I mean, we can try.
I only just became aware of somebody, Rhea talking to somebody in there, so I don't think that I would.
Is it
qualify
another
for
super
one of those.
lifelike statue?
You know, I'll tell you what. I will do a
It's a
perception
super
check,
lifelike talking statue.
but I don't think that it would be applicable to anything in the room.
Okay, well, those results actually kind of make sense, right? Because Thorn and Malvola are the ones that are in the room. What you two notice is that, so Fabius is kind of holding the candlestick out in front of him, and he's turned to face you now, and you can see like the shadow behind him. But what catches your eye, that's all normal so far, right? What catches your eye is that his shadow does not match his form. Like his shadow is not a human-shaped shadow.
What, like it has like wings and horns and stuff?
It sure does.
Damn it!
It has small wings.
Rhea, this is not Flavor Creek.
She's like, you're right. This is Fabius Creek, the High Overseer of Elturel. Says, do not disgrace him with such profanity.
Look at the walls behind him.
She says, what are you talking about? She says, I don't care for such jewelry as shields like that. She says, Fabius,
He has a demon's
I'm-
shadow woman.
I'm so glad I found you. She says,
You're about to die.
and she says, she's kind of like looking, she looks over her shoulder at you both, and then she kind of looks at
It's
the
a
wall
trick.
behind Fabius, and you see like just complete confusion on her face.
Back up, you lunatic.
No, we're the lunatics, remember?
Yeah,
Oh, no, that's
remember?
Come over by the lunatics.
That's the trouble with sane people.
So at this point, Malvola, something happens that you perhaps might not have even experienced before. A voice speaks to your mind. So nobody else hears this, right?
Flynn is talking to you from beyond the grave.
Of course.
It's still in my backpack.
Oh, he's so
You
squishy.
owe me $5.
I want my $2.
So it says, it says a true partner has arrived. It says, together let's save Elturel.
But perhaps together we could be something more.
So that's the voice that you hear inside your noggin there,
Did it also
Malvola.
call Malvola?
I'm
a
thinking
jail?
like back, I guess back at it. I don't know if it can like hear or if it can only broadcast. Save it from what? Like how can I possibly?
What?
So wait, are you saying this out loud or are you?
No, this is like
Okay,
in my
just
head.
Okay. Alright. It says Elturel is in the 9 hells, but we can save it. It says we can rescue it. Okay, so that's going on with. So everybody else, what you guys doing?
Palkas
Drawing my bow and knocking him out.
moving up and
I
asking
mean,
Shy.
it's a demon.
Asking Coyra, what's going on?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm moving into the room trying to figure out what in the name of all that is, what the hell's going on in here.
So yeah, Coyra just responds to Palkas. Yes.
Thorn, what are you doing this time?
Yeah, Thorn has an arrow knocked. Looks like.
I'm not shooting it, but I'm ready.
It
And
looks
if Grim's
like
looking at me weird, I'm going to point. Look at his shadow, man. It's or a devil, some kind of fiend, other, I don't know. It seems classified. Anyway, evil.
Can I see whatever the heck they're talking about? Or
Yes.
he's talking about?
Yep. So the shadow on the wall behind this guy, right, is kind of large, fairly roundish looking, where this guy is kind of like a regular average sized human, right? Also has horns and small wings. I wish I could show you.
Slobber chops.
The slobber chop.
That would be a different thing altogether.
So the shadow is portly.
Demonic.
The shadow is portly, indeed.
Okay. I'm just going through like what I remember of the monster manual kind of thing, and like I have the image in my head, but I'm like I can't remember what it's called or where they're from or all the.
My hand is going to drop, or my right hand's going to drop toward near my whip. So you want to kill him because of a shadow?
No, I want to be ready to kill him in case he suddenly leaps at us and starts murdering us.
He says, he kind of, when he sees you knock an arrow, Fabius Krieg finally speaks and says, "No, there is no need for violence." He says, "I'm so glad that you're here to save me." And he kind of, he takes Rhea's hand and kind of clasps it in his, like this, and says, "I'm so glad that you're here to save me. What's your name?" And he's kind of patting her hand as he's speaking to her.
Show us your true form.
And she
It's overnight.
she's kind of like looking at him and looking at you, and kind of like she's kind of drawing back her hand a little bit. And he says, he says, "I don't know what's going on." He says, but I'm so glad that you're here to release me. This captivity has not been pleasant.
Coyra meanwhile looks at Palkas and is like, I think I figured it out. Rhea fell down, she's now on one knee, and the other two are speaking something about not being a real thing. That's definitely what's happening.
Palkas puts his scouter on and brings down this and starts looking. No, I'm kidding. He's just watching and listening and on guard, and that's about it. He's a little confused about what's going on at the moment and waiting for the usual thorn stab,
Yeah.
or we get a new friend,
Honestly, that's what Coyra is doing too.
Either
Trying
that-
to make sense of what she's being in.
I love this.
Okay, let me get this straight.
Either they're dead or
You've
they're
been
friends.
held captive here.
He says,
I'm talking to Flavored Creek, which is apparently his name now. You've been held captive here.
he says, "Yes." I
Isn't this a
have."
vault?
He says it is, but I believe it is the room with the best lock. But I don't understand such things. He says, "All I know is that the Duke's
Why not?
guards
You're a ruler.
captured me." He says, "I don't understand how locks work, man." He says, They captured me shortly after my
Are
arrival."
there questions your real liege would know?
Wait, what was that? Sorry, I missed what you said.
Saying to Rhea, are there questions your real liege would know the answers to?
She says, "Well, sure," and she's still kind of like slowly pulling her hand back from this kind of grasp that Fabius has. She asks him, she says, in Elturel, she says, at the High Hall, she says, which door do you favor? And Fabius, frowns at her and says, this is ridiculous. He says, but if you must, he says, then I'll answer your little test. He says, I favor the east door, of course, because that has the quickest route from my chambers. She looks back at you, Thorn, and she says, that is the correct answer.
Has he had a devil shadow before?
Has she acknowledged that she sees a strange shadow at this point?
Not exactly. Fabius says, this is ridiculous. He says, I've been held against my will for long enough. He says, I'm the High Overseer of an important city. He says,
No, you're not.
He says, yes, I think you'll find that I am.
Your city is in the night. You're the overseer of a smoking hole in the ground and one teenager. Congratulations!
He says, well, if indeed Elturel is in the Nine Hells, then we will surely act to avenge and restore it as quickly as we can. He says,
yes,
perhaps
you have the shadow of a death.
Perhaps this fine group could help me with such a task. He says,
Turn around,
By
man.
the way,
Turn around and
either
look
way.
at your shadow.
question, does he see Coyra and Palkas outside of the door, or not?
Yeah, I think he can see, perhaps not like all the details, but he's certainly aware that two people are out
He
there.
sees two shadows, basically.
Yeah, two kind of shapes, yeah. Kind of behind Grim a little bit, and, you know. He says, this is certainly not the place where I can restore Elturel from. He says, we should leave this now. He says, take me to the person of authority who somebody has clearly hired you. Take me to them and let's settle this.
No.
Take me to
I mean, the closest
We've
person
killed
to
a lot of
authority is
very
dead.
important people today. We're no great respecters of rank. Turn around and look at your damn shadow, man. And then
He
see
says-
if you want to continue this pretend.
He says, I don't need to look at my shadow, sir.
Do you
He
need
says,
to live? Do you need to live?
He says, Rhea.
It's a simple question.
He says,
She
Rhea.
can't hit a barn door in a gale. There's no use appealing to her.
Says, Rhea, please proceed with me out of this room. He says, I've been held captive long enough. He says, these
Rhea, do you want me
Vanthampurs
to
must
kill
pay.
your lord? If not, get him to turn around and address the matter of his shadow. I'm trying to be nice.
I mean, he hasn't stabbed anyone yet, so that's
Yeah, so for
something.
Thorn, this is nice.
Yeah.
Palkas says, you did give your word you wouldn't.
I did.
Yes. Well, I wasn't there when you
How
said that.
do you feel about a man with a devil shadow?
What man with a
Particularly
devil
lippy one.
shadow? I just see some old guy.
Look behind him on the wall, pal.
Do I see?
Yeah. I mean, if somebody's pointing it out to you, you definitely see.
That's a cool trick.
Rhea kind of pulls her hand back from Fabius, out of this kind of grasp, and kind of takes a step back, kind of like the look on her face is one of confusion, and she's just really unhappy about the whole situation. Sorry, one sec. So Malvola, you get an answer that says, well, your party, yourself, and I.
Apparently that was not helpful. You just made things more stressful for him.
Literally. I mean, because the thought, I'm like, I don't know if this is like Fabius, demon, whatever, or if this is like Rhea has like, surprise, I've got to see if it's the mace that we found, if it's something else in this room. I'm like, who?
Maybe it's that golden shield.
Palkas calls out loud and says, "Is there anyone else in this room? Why have they kept you and this person in this vault? What is this room?"
It's a vault.
He says, clearly they kept me here because this is the room with the best lock, and also probably because I am the High Overseer of Elturel, so they were not intending to keep me in the prison.
Could I insight check him now that I hear him saying this?
Sure.
At least I'm assuming that I'm hearing this.
That sounds recorded because it's like exactly what he said the last time.
He says, well, it doesn't seem to be getting through, so I'm just going to try and keep repeating it until it does.
I don't suppose I would know anything about the High Overseer of Elturel.
Old dude.
Since I've wandered more than most.
It's got demon shadow.
I don't
Other
think
than the
Coyra-
obvious current situation.
I
Have
don't
I
think
heard of
Turns out
that?
there's actually 9 overseers.
I don't think Coyra would know much either, knowing that she.
I mean, I
basically
doubt,
lives in the
I know
wilderness.
much, but just curious.
So you hear again, Malvola, I am the Hidden Lord, he says. Take the shield from the wall, and together we can save Elturel.
What did my insight check produce?
So your insight check for Mr. Krieg says that says that he seems to be telling the truth about being the overseer.
Palkas says, perhaps he's been cursed by those that dwell here.
It is a possibility.
Fabius says, exactly. I don't know why you feel the need to question somebody of such authority, but
Have
clearly...
a look at your own damn
Because
shadow,
you're-
man.
Yeah.
Okay, shadow aside.
The reason we don't trust this is you look like an old man standing here, but the light from your candle is displaying a much different silhouette on the wall, and there's no like totally normal reasonable explanation for why that would happen. That does not make sense.
He could have been cursed.
Chewbacca was a Wookiee.
Oh God, no!
It does not make
Not the
sense.
Wookiee defense.
No,
Plus,
so he says,
virtually everything we've encountered down here
Fine.
has been either a devil or a cultist.
he says, fine. And he turns around, looks at the wall, turns back at you, and says, clearly, your friend here, and he's gesturing to Palkas, is correct. He says, now can we go?
That's correct.
Palkas enters the room at that point, walks directly towards him, holds his hand out, and says, take my hand.
pull my
He's-
finger.
No, big difference.
No, don't do that. No,
Big
no, no.
difference.
Anything but that.
He says, he looks at you. I don't believe I will be doing such a thing unless you care to explain yourself.
Says, I will not harm you.
He
Just
says,
take my hand.
why?
Show
He
that
says,
you would,
I have trust issues. I've been locked up for a long time.
as do we. Take my hand.
Explain to me what will happen when I take your hand. Why is it necessary?
And
I love that song.
I only... All right, I'm going to try bluffing. He's going to attempt to say that he merely wants to help escort him because it's dark, damp, and slippery throughout the sewers. When in fact, his intention is to try and detect whether or not this guy is wearing an illusion, and if he can feel the difference, because illusions are relatively low-level spells that are common.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. Make a deception check.
Okay.
I'm also thinking of the technique that we used to
nice.
unmask the other person who was hiding with an illusion, where I threw a dagger at.
Well, aren't you occupied with talking to a shield?
What?
He
I said,
actually told me
isn't
about
isn't Malvola currently occupied with talking to a shield though?
Oh, it's the shield that's
That
talking to your head.
Doesn't really require that much of my capacity.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Anyway,
So,
this place is getting a little too weird for me.
You're not wrong.
Okay, so you want...
The other thing occurs to me.
fireball.
No, give me one more level, and maybe I'm not sure if that's on my spell list or not. No, but the thing that comes to my mind is, and I will say this out loud. The other thing that occurs to me is, what if Fabius Krieg was a demon before El Terrell got pulled into the Hells, and this is the person that we're expecting?
That's also possible.
Yep.
But he acknowledged that the shadow is weird too, didn't he?
Well,
No, he just turned around and turned straight back again.
I find it strange that...
I mean, he
Sorry.
admitted to Palkas, like, he agreed with Palkas, which is a wonder.
I have a
back to
counter argument
the
to that, but I'm not saying anything out loud because right now I'm just trying to get the guy's hand. Because with that, he's not just going to take the guy's hand, he's going to then try and help him with the elbow and put his hand on his back and stuff and try and, like escort him forward, trying to be gentle about it and stuff, but also trying to...
So are you leading or is he leading?
Man.
I'm just trying to escort him.
You're trying to frisk him?
But at the same time,
Kind of cap a feel on the old guy?
Yes, very much so.
It's like a Sharpay, but sadder.
The fat demon friend.
Even though I'm not the gritty one in the
No.
bunch, is there anything interesting in this room?
Not an escort quest.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there sure is. There's these 8 small wooden chests.
Mm-hmm.
And the talking golden shield. And a demon.
Well, we don't know that the shield is talking.
I know, but I'm saying that as
And would
we are
you-
on.
Get over the demon part.
No!
So
He's
what's
obsessed
the
with
result
shadows.
of my
It
deception?
is.
Since considering the current or previous denizens, it's probably a devil, not a demon.
So he seems convinced that that's what you're saying, but he still says, "Man, I do not need your assistance to walk. I am quite capable."
I take his hand.
Okay. So it seems like a regular hand.
Okay. And I quickly... you said that the shadow had wings, yes?
Mm-hmm.
I quickly move my hand to the back to see if I can detect wings as well. And I don't know if I'm able to do this. This is what I would like to try to do. And with that, not injuring or anything, just trying to feel if these things are there.
Oh, no wings.
And immediately...
He says, "Sir, excuse me." He says, "Unhand me."
Palkas
And he pulls his hand away from
and he
me.
raises his hands and says, "He is what he says."
He says, "I have never met such a familiar group of ragtag adventurers." He says, "With this, I will be taking my leave." He
Welcome
says,
to Baldur's Gate.
he says, "Rhea, if you consider yourself and he's going to kind of step around you, Palkas, and says, "Consider yourself still in the service of Alteral. Please escort me from this place."
Palkas says, "You're better than this, Rhea."
Will Coyra have heard that?
Yes, he's speaking in like a raised
Yeah.
voice.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty
How
grumpy
do I
now.
move
He just had a...
myself like half.
Palkas is making no moves towards this guy at all.
Is it alt?
Yeah.
Coyra just stands completely in front of the door. Just in case.
Yeah, he's gonna get... Anybody doing anything? Or-
Palkas looks to Ray and says, "We disagree on many things, but you know he's not what he appears to be."
Rhea says, "So what should we do? Just let him go?"
It's your call, Hellrider.
He's your master.
Or your master's form.
He...
Perhaps he's already conceived.
Or perhaps
We have
he's
no
been
definitive
cursed.
proof one way or the other.
Palkas says, or
If-
perhaps he's been cursed.
Whatever Ray
perhaps he-
says,
I've never heard of a curse.
like if Ray says let him go, Coyra will go out of the way.
Okay. Fabius stands in front of you and he's trying to stand up like super tall and be a little intimidating, and he says, "Out of the way, young lady."
No. I've seen scarier.
He narrows his eyes at you, and there's kind of an evil it's like he's doing that thing where he's smiling with his eyes, although like his face is not moving, and says, "I doubt that," under his breath to you. Rhea says, "I'm the
Coyra
last
just-
person to be making this decision."
Coyra just loudly says, "So you're threatening me now?" Loud enough so that the others definitely hear it.
Palkas's ears perk up and he immediately readies his maul upon hearing
Yeah.
Coyra say that.
He
Does
says,
not move forward, but just like...
he says, "You are correct. Well done." He says, "Now move out of my way."
Palkas says, "You'd be wise not to injure her."
He says,
I will not move.
"Perhaps you could let me pass then. Or are you going to hold me captive now, young lady?"
You just threatened me. If you threaten me, I'm not gonna let you go. Like, that's not how it works.
Okay, he's just standing in front of you, kind of glaring with his back to the rest of the group. It's like a face-off, like right at the doorway. Rhea is still saying, I am the last and worst person to make this decision."
Ray, you're the only one who's met him.
She says, "He seems himself to me. I just don't know what to do with him now."
Palkas says, "Well, either he's been cursed or he's been like this the whole time and no one ever noticed his shadow during his entire reign in your city."
Meanwhile, Malvola is...
More Malvola commentary.
The voice says, "Together we can save Elturel. We can rescue all of those people." Says, "Let the hidden lord work for you." Says, "If you just take the shield, and together we can accomplish so much."
Become one.
Says, "I am trapped in this shield. I have been trapped in this shield by my nemesis,
Ooh,
by
that's
an
a strong word.
evil devil, the opposite of me. It is an unholy prison."
Kind of is.
So, while this guy is giving me like really threatening stares, and stuff, Coyra just readies. Let me see, can I ready it? A flickering flame appears in your hand. Flame there for the duration and harms neither you. Yeah. She readies a flame. Ignore that. That's wrong. They ignored it.
Okay, yeah, no
I
worries.
never clicked that. She just has this flame in her hand, ready to be like, if you keep threatening me, that flame will heat up the situation.
He says, I'm merely standing here. You're the one who is in the way.
Rhea, are you satisfied that it's who he says he is?
Also, this is a bright light, so a shadow might cast on different walls too, in case that matters.
Yeah, you'd see like a shadow kind of on the floor behind him. At least like of his, it's kind of stretching out on the floor behind him. Oh, I think we're...
But yeah, Grim would ask, Rhea, are you sure? Are you convinced this is who he says he is?
Rhea says, he seems like himself.
Are these?
Then if he wants to go, let him go. You can escort him back up or not. That's up to you.
Are these boxes locked or visibly latches or anything like that?
That's a good question. Hang on 1 second. They do have latches on the front, but that you don't see like keyholes or anything like that.
Strange place. Palkas says, Coyra, check his shadow outside the room.
Sorry, what?
Check his shadow outside the room.
Your audio dropped out again.
Yeah.
Check his shadow outside the room.
Oh, Discord.
It dropped out in the same spot again.
He's saying
It sounds like
check
he's
his
saying
shadow.
outside the room.
Check his shadow outside of the room.
Okay.
And then upon saying that, he'll walk over and quickly just try and flip open one of the coffers on the tables.
Okay.
Just close.
Would a shadow cast outside of the room? Or...
Yeah, certainly. Well, I mean, it'd be a bit weird, right? Because there are all these like green lanterns, but there would be some shadows for sure.
That you do have a pretty intense light source.
Yeah,
like
that too.
in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
So are you checking this one, Palkas?
Yeah, and I'm checking his shadow again.
Okay. So, are you letting him past, or?
Since I can see his shadow quite well, I think I'm not gonna move yet. No, actually, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So that I can check his shadow outside of the room.
Okay. Yep, he kind of will push past you a bit and kind of comes here and stands and is looking like either way down the tunnels, trying to figure out like which way to go.
Did you just push me?
A little bit, probably. Yeah. Yeah, he probably did kind of like to get past through this tiny gap right here. Yep.
Sure. I'm not gonna attack. I'm better than this.
So
it has to flame in her hand too.
Yeah, hang on 1 sec. I'll get to that. So the shadow you see, Coyra, is kind of over here and is the same that was on the wall and inside the room. So the shadow does not appear to have changed.
Okay.
Then in the box, what's in the box? Is you open...
No. Not doing it. No.
What's in the box? It contains a large quantity of platinum pieces.
Palkas is visibly disappointed.
Disappointed that it wasn't going to spout to our head?
He seems confused and just kind of looks off in the direction of the old man again. Palkas says, Reyes says, perhaps something has changed about your master, but I fear I fear the worst for him. Would I be aware of the nature of all these, what they've been worshipping being devils mostly, and those being very interested in contracts? Would I be aware of such things?
The general kind of knowledge about devils
And, well, seeming
favoring contractual agreements? Yeah, sure.
Palkas would say, it's possible there was a contract drawn with the devils here upon his capture. Further problems of why the city was gone. And this might be a result of it. As he gestures towards the old man.
Okay, he is walking away, by the way. So he's kind of, after standing, looking either way, he decides to go the least stinky route and starts walking that direction.
What's Rhea's response?
Rhea is just she'll kind of move to where she can see, him leaving. And she's just, kind of confused.
Coyra just follows him, just 30 feet distance.
Okay.
For no particular reason at all. With a fireball in her hand. No reason at all.
Palkas would say to Rhea at this point, assuming all is well, what would you have done with your master?
She says, well, we need to figure out how to get Elturel back. There are many people in that city. Says, if you want to save a large group of people like you keep talking about, that's certainly one that could use your help right now. Says, I have no idea the energies that it took to transport that city and the damage that has caused, but I can only imagine that there are some survivors, and they are certainly worthy of our help.
Palkas says, then go catch up to him, but keep in mind he may not be what you think he once was. We will catch up in a moment. Quickly, he's getting out of sight.
Okay, so she'll kind of move out.
As she's passing, I'll point out that the tunnel that she was standing in when we were fighting the Duke, that tunnel leads up to the outbuilding. That might be the swiftest course to escort him out.
Okay.
Has Malvola mentioned anything? Shield. I've been dropped out quite a bit. Don't know whether.
No, he has kind of walked over to it, and he's he's standing there.
That's perfectly understandable. So.
Oh, I think
kind of gnawing on it like you would a piece of art.
I think did I make a handout for it? Hang on.
A handout?
I made, there we go. This is what the shield looks like.
Oh, that's pretty spiffy.
Yeah.
By the way, Coyra is gonna keep following until she sees Ray catch up with him.
I don't know how you could pass that up, man.
There, Ray and him are going together. Up to that point, Coyra is just gonna follow.
Okay. Yep, so he's gonna kind of keep going. Right,
Yeah. I will.
So he
I still have the shield that I took off of the other cultist way back when.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lay that down on the floor, and I'm gonna lift this one off the wall.
Okay.
And as he's doing it, Palkas is going to say, grab these coffers. We can take them with us and help with the efforts in the city, at least. We should keep up with Rhea, though. I don't think that her master is the same as he once was, but I don't know what the circumstances are, and I fear we might be hasty if we act too quickly. That was kind of redundant, but you know.
Not really. Let me know when Ray catches up to
Oh,
him.
yep, sorry.
If she catches up to him.
So
Can
she's...
I
Yeah, go.
sprint? Can I sprint past the old geezer and back to Amric?
Yeah, sure. He's Fabius is just kind of walking with purpose. He's not running or anything.
Yeah,
So
that's fine.
so yes, you could certainly run past him.
Okay, I'll do that quite now. I'll get a tail from him.
Okay.
So,
But I want to ask Amric.
Yes. Sorry, go on.
my excuse for
What?
following him, by the way, is just so that he has light.
Maybe he'll notice his own shadow. I'd
Yeah.
like to ask Amric why he has a demand of devil. I don't let Amric speak again.
Okay.
Who is he? What is he? What have you done with him since
Alright.
place? Do you think we're insane?
Okay. Alright.
I mean, yes, we are kind of insane.
They are, not me.
Alright,
Spoken like
so
a truly sane person.
so it looks like Grim is taking a look down these hallways.
Yeah, while they're playing around with chests and stuff, I'm having a little explore. I don't want anybody coming up on us.
No,
I'm tired of ambushes, surprises.
You ran up to find one yourself.
Well, I'd rather potentially know where the enemies are. So I'm just kind of cautiously looking around.
Yep, so that's what you see in that direction. So down here, right, down this tunnel, you see there is bars, metal bars that run from ceiling to floor, that look like they're about, a very small distance apart. Maybe enough to let like a rat through or something like that, but...
Bars.
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 God damn it. Sorry. We've been watching like his Dark Materials and Yorick goes bars. Bars.
Bars.
So hence the bars.
I don't have a monitor on to throw at it, so
Yeah.
So I guess Palkas is the only one that's actually collecting any of the loot, because everyone else is kind of ditched.
Well, Malvola is that.
Melville's having a hypnotized attack with
The
the shield right
shield.
now, so
Alright.
it's...
Thorn will be back to help in a
Know
minute.
about your plan. She was already gone.
Thorn will be back to help in a bit.
I will put the shield in my I'm not actively using it carry position.
Just stow the
Kind of.
shield.
Yeah, and I guess I'll try and grab at least one of these chests, but I'm not all that strong, so I don't know if I could carry more than one.
I have no idea the quantity of the contents or the size of the boxes or anything. I just know that one of them had platinum coins in it. So.
Okay. So you do Malvola. So you're not using the shield. You're kind of like stowing it for now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the voice in your head says, I'm very glad that we'll be working together. And Thorn, Amric,
right.
so you're questioning, do you loosen his gag, or?
Yeah.
Okay. He says, I'm done playing this game. He says, if you want more information, it is your turn. You have to let me down now.
I don't. Okay, fine. Back to the gag. Rot in hell.
Love you
Bye-bye.
too. Blow them kisses.
Actually, that's a good call. Does the guy that I'm following know about the vampire guy?
Vampire?
Oh, the vampire?
What vampire?
I keep forgetting his name.
The
This one.
Vanthampur?
Vanthampur.
Yes, that one.
Oh.
Like, we're fighting
Close
vampires
enough.
now?
Wait, you're asking if this guy knows about this guy.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Well, since it's quite obvious they're following him, as there's a bright light following him, Coyra shouts over like, Vanthampur, if you need him, he's in that room, and tries to point to it,
Oh.
just in case he has some business to attend to. Also, then he's in a room again.
His reaction to the Duke being dead would be interesting.
That
He
too.
says, which Vanthampur?
The Duke is
The
in
cute
that
one.
room, but that one's kinda dead, and
He says, he says, one of the dukes of Baldur's Gate is like, what? How is she dead?
Go down the room. Take a look for yourself.
Yeah, so he will kind of step. I'm assuming you didn't close the doors behind you.
I'm assuming so.
And sees her body kind of on the floor. And
Of a satanic temple of some sort.
yeah. And says, what has happened here?
Ian, they tried to ask questions and stabby happened.
The stabbing.
By the way, I also said that I forgot his name again, but he's in this room.
Okay. So you do kind
I
of...
keep forgetting his name.
No
yeah.
worries. Alright.
I mean,
So let's go back to this room for a sec, because Palkas, you were... While they were doing that stuff, Thorn was running around, you were looting.
Yep. Somebody's got to pay the bills. Bills.
So you
bills?
just... Are you taking all of them? Are you opening them? What do you...
I have to open them first. Just go around there quickly opening each one.
Alright. So, and this one, you find a bunch of electrum ingots.
Electrum ingots.
Mm-hmm.
Electrum
And
is...
this one,
Okay.
this one, and this one, you find a bunch of gold coins.
Okay.
In this one, you find 2 pieces of a broken dagger.
He puts those in his torch bag.
Okay. Hang on one sec. It's a curved ivory blade along with a bone hilt wrapped in leather straps. And could you write next to that V36, please?
V36.
Takes all the fun out of it when I have to give you a reference number.
Okay.
Then in this one and that one, you find a whole bunch of platinum pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this last one, you find a good quantity of what looks like azure gemstones or something like that.
All right. He will prioritize gemstones, then platinum, then the electrum. No, then the gold, then the electrum.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know how much these are. I mean, obviously they're little chests and stuff, but I mean, is it like a little chest? A little dump it out? Because he's got several sacks, but...
Yeah.
Or is it like... There's a lot.
Well, I mean, there's quite a lot of coin here, right? Which is quite heavy.
Yep.
Are you...
I'll carry anything you want me to carry.
Carry me. No.
This guy's proceeding down the hallway.
He'll proceed with the platinum.
Okay.
The gemstones and the platinum. So
Okay.
we'll start with that.
Okay.
And when you tell me the general quantity, I can put that on here and it'll figure out the weight, because I've been keeping up with the weight, and it'll tell me if I'm encumbered or not.
So the gemstones, there are about 20 of those.
Okay. Oops. Gemstones. And I'm assuming that they don't really have much of a weight, being gemstones.
They're not particularly heavy, no.
Okay. Then the platinum.
You think you've got about 200 pieces of platinum.
I am not encumbered.
Okay.
So he'll proceed going to the gold.
the gold. There's 300 pieces total.
Right. I'm still not encumbered. Getting close. I got 142 pounds on me right now. So he will proceed to go to the. Actually, what's left? The electrum.
Yep. There's 30 electrum ingots.
Palkas would say those. And he's just kind of dumping these things into his sack. He's got a spare sack.
Yeah.
He's got 2 spare sacks actually, and he gives one of the sacks to Thorn.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm not reduced to standstill, but I'll certainly be slowed. But I can, assuming it's like a pound or 2 per ingot.
Yeah.
I hear electrum is feather light.
Let's try.
I have no idea.
You should be able to move pretty fast, Current.
So,
I think a Tigger's construct, sorry.
So our friend here goes into this room and sees Amric hanging from one of these kind of meat hooks and bound and gagged, and he says, "Oh, dear fellow, did your family imprison you as well?" and pulls the gag from Amric's mouth.
I'm glad Coyra's there to hear
I'm
this.
relying on you here, Coyra.
And says, "Here, let me turn you around and help you with these bonds." And
he's obviously evil at this point. The Vallen
So he
have grabbed him and imprisoned him and sent his fucking city down.
And he's free, one of them.
So but what's weird to me is...
But I'm not there, but if I was, stabby stabby.
Coyra just shouts like, "Why are you releasing him? He's the reason you're here."
he says, "Well, he's clearly been imprisoned as well. Who did this to him?"
We did, because he was fleeing.
Close the door.
Well, I don't blame him from fleeing from you. Look at... He says, "You're ready to set me on fire as it is."
I mean, I'm just following you for light. You know how dark it can be here.
He says, "Yes, all these green lanterns barely cast any light at all."
I know.
The thing I think is funny is he wouldn't take Palkas's hand, who is...
Yeah, but then he
not
willingly does it by Vanthampur.
And yet Amric, who's literally like covered in poo, and he's like, "Oh, let me help you."
I'm just wondering how tight those bonds have gotten since we tied him up with strips of wet cloth that have since dried.
Well,
Amric says, right, so he removes the gag from Amric, and Amric says, "These criminals! Do not let them bind me again."
See, Amric's a noble. Just because he's covered in poo means he still smells lovely.
How did the door open again? Was it inside or outside?
It's inwards. Yep.
Okay, Coyra closes the door.
I was just joking. I wasn't trying to mitigate
No,
that.
Coyra just closes the door, seeing
not
that
gonna
he's
close
willingly...
past him. You know, he's like standing in the way.
Ah, darn it.
Sorry.
Seeing that he's willingly freeing him from Vanthampur, Coyra asks Ray like, "You really think this is a good idea?"
Rhea says, "I don't think that hanging this man in the fridge is the way to resolve this." Says, "Yes, he is a criminal, but this is not how we handle criminals."
That I can agree with, but releasing him now will set him free. While, if he doesn't get released, he can be dealt with by the right people. And your master is not a fan of the Vanthampur family as far as I mean, he has been locked up by them. Does this not look suspicious?
She says, I didn't... She says, yes, this is not the right thing to do either. She says, at this point, I don't know which of you is worse.
Waiting for Coyra to be like, I've got a bubble pipe.
The
So over to
How
Grim
can
for a
someone with a
second.
bubble pipe be bad?
So Grim, you see the tunnel proceeds and then hits a T. So it goes to the left and to the right.
Oh, lovely.
I'm waiting for a gator to come up and get you.
That'll probably happen. I'm gonna proceed down, see which way, see what it. Basically, I'm trying to figure out if there's anywhere more would potentially be.
Anyway, what?
Anywhere there might be more cultists.
Oh, okay. Well, you do see a door there,
Oh, lovely.
and then you see this continues that way.
And looks like it probably meets up. Okay. Do I want to check out the door without anybody around?
We've got loot going on in one room, opening another door by yourself in another area, and we've got two guys that are freeing each other with two people that are confused. Oh boy.
And one of them can't even stop them if needed.
You know what? To verify
Because I don't
that
have
this
dispels.
connects, I'm going to start
They don't
making
know.
my way. And we never checked out this hallway here.
No.
See,
So I'm
what
going to proceed through.
I'm gonna try is
Hang on, my stuff's...
Yeah?
Oh, go on, sorry.
what I'm gonna try is to make him go this way, basically. Like, wait, the wrong thing. Like that way, down. And maybe if I can make him do a loop,
Okay.
thinking that that's the exit.
Okay.
And I actually whisper that to Ray, like, let's try to win sometime. I'm willing to let him go, but let's try to win sometime, just in case things go south.
Alright, so Fabius is going to he kind of ignores you, Coyra, and unties Amric and lets him down off of the hook.
So
Now
good.
Emric attacks him.
Okay, wait, Grim, where are you going?
Since the hallway seems to connect, I'm going to stop by and say say hello to Slobberchops, give him a pet. You know, the only other sane individual in this place.
Okay.
Basically, check, make sure he's all right.
Yeah, Amric is like seems to have some damage to his hands. You know,
Makes sense.
from the
Oh,
bites.
shucks.
How quickly did he untie him?
Well, wet cloth,
Yeah,
bound
but
tight,
tied
then it
up.
constricts as it dries. That would do damage.
Also frozen, as
Yeah.
it is in a freezer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's not freezing.
Yeah.
Right, otherwise he'd probably
But-
be dead by now because you guys took a rest and yeah.
Mm.
So, alright. So, what, Thorn and Palkas? What
I'm
do you
just
guys up to?
asking in times of
Well,
time's
depending
sake.
on how long it takes for Flavor Town to actually unpick these knots and get
It's gonna
Amric
take him
down,
a little bit.
I assume that we finish gathering up the loot and start making our way round to
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it won't take us any
Malvola.
more than a half a round at most. We're experts at this kind of thing.
Just loot everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like
I've got 3 tapestries. Let's
bank
go.
heist level looting.
Yeah, totally.
So we would just
So yeah, it's gonna take him a few minutes, right, to get
Mhm.
this guy untied.
come down here and head this way,
Hmm.
and then start looking for them at that point, thinking that they might
Yeah.
have gone here, to go upstairs.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
You might still see us in the corridor.
I mean, yeah,
Depends how fast or
we
slow we
see
can.
them in the corridor.
Right.
Yep, you probably do.
Okay, so
Also, every 10 minutes the flame goes out and Coyra just recasts again. As I just looked at the spell again and it actually said last 10 minutes.
Okay. So so you probably see Amric and Fabius exiting the fridge and walking away kind of down this way.
There's Coyra. Hey,
okay.
is that Amric? Wait, I can't see that. Wait, there's a light source down there. So
Yeah, these are all
Yeah,
light
there
sources.
is.
Wow.
And Coyra is holding a light sword.
Thorn is definitely going to.
Shit.
Why do I have a feeling Thorn's going to shoot him in the back?
I mean, the
Well,
benefit is
what's
they're
the
taking
range?
the long way around at the
That's
moment, so...
Alright, let's do some turn order here.
What?
Because I feel like this
That
is
organizes too much of our
gonna
chaos.
escalate stuff.
Yeah.
I can't say. I can't.
I'm not
Why?
escalating anything.
Okay, I can.
I'm petting a cat.
Why can't I?
Oh, Emmerich, where the hell's your
And I'm
shit?
also not doing much, I'm just following.
Jesus.
All right.
If I-
I have to
Relax.
refresh my page, so I might disappear on the
Okay.
page
Bye.
for a moment. Sorry, because half of
Sorry.
Roll20 stopped working for me.
Oh no.
There's a sheet.
Oh,
No, that's his
150.
handout. That's great. That's not helpful at all. Where's your sheet, Emmerich?
Character sheet.
There it is.
Okay. Where are we at? Because I can't move the turn order for some reason. I can't shrink it. I can't expand it. Oh, I can expand it.
Oh my gosh, you can move the turn order.
Yeah, because I thought usually you can move it, but it's like it's not letting me drag it, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, I never knew that you could move it.
Surprise!
Oh, guess what? You can move it.
Oh wow, thank you.
Okay,
I
is that
didn't know.
everybody?
Do you have Emric?
I do.
Okay.
He and Rhea have the same.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's kind of just there, I guess. So.
All right. So let's just kind of run through this. Coyra?
Yeah, my plan is still to follow them on about a 30-ish feet distance
Okay.
without harming.
All right. Malvola?
I know I'm a little bit closer, but I'm gonna let the distance go a little bit further again.
I don't really have like the bloodlust about Emric. I don't like him, but I'm not like out to kill him. So I'm pretty much just following and keeping an eye on.
Yeah, that's basically the same I have.
Because you just don't want to reclaim him. You're just gonna
Palkas?
let him. Palkas tries to catch up, like at a jogging pace, because he's got some stuff.
Like at a double move.
Probably, I guess. I mean,
You could shoot past him at that point.
that's true. Well, no, I can catch up to him. I could do 80 feet.
Jeez.
That would be my entire turn. So
All right.
Palkas would run up to him.
Okay.
Shouting, "Where do you think you're going?"
Jingling by.
Right. The sound of his family fortune in your pockets. Stop thief. Thorn.
See, it's not actually Amric I'm worried about. I am firing 2 shots
Oh boy.
at Flavor Creek.
Oh.
Oh boy. Well, it was nice having Ray on our side.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, and you crit. Oh my god. If he's a weak NPC, he's just
He's
poof,
dead.
1 hit point, he's
Yeah.
dead. You're like,
Wow.
So
And that's coming from downtown.
are we getting like a?
Downtown Thorn.
I'm picturing like the camera on the arrow, like
Zooming past
Prince
like
of Thieves
Malvola and Coyra.
Yep.
the critical is on the dread ambush. Does that get the dread ambush doubled?
Well, the first one doesn't hit. That's
Okay.
so the second one is the one that hits.
He's definitely. And if the dread ambusher doubled, then there's an extra 8.
Okay, just in case I won. Okay, so
That's 27 from one arrow.
2 arrows. I fire twice.
Right, but the first one, I don't know if that hit or not.
Oh, yeah, you're right. My God, you're right.
That is just 1 arrow that hit.
Well,
the first one.
we
did
don't
not
know
hit.
about the 18 if that
No,
hit or not,
the
but
first
we
one didn't.
definitely know that the 20 hit.
Well, we know it didn't do any damage. So whether it hit him or not, I don't hear to hit him. I just say it didn't hurt him. Wow. That's obscene.
Okay. So he takes that arrow. And
Back of the head.
anything else you want to do?
No, just knock another arrow.
Okay. And Grim.
I don't know what any of this is going on, so
I'm just
if
imagining.
Silvertop's allows it, I'm gonna pick him up and pet him, feed him some more jerky.
Yeah. So he'll let
You
you.
know, kind of imitate the statue of the
Mhm,
Duke.
mhm.
Hold him.
No,
'Cause I don't know
Mr.
what's going
Bond,
on
I
over there.
expect you to die.
I don't know that Thorn has started another fight.
Yet
I'm
another one.
sorry.
That's just an assumption we constantly keep to make.
So
He's being really
yeah.
evil. He's really creepy.
This is what you say every time.
That's true. That's a good point, Flynn.
Rhea is going to move up behind Palkas and
Palkas is like reaching for
she
what's
has
his name at this point?
she gets her crossbow at the ready and is kind of focused on Amric.
I was not expecting that.
I definitely expected she was going to say,
I
That
thought
she
she was
shoots at
going
Thorn.
out for Thorn. Yeah.
I think it'd be fair enough.
She didn't say who she's aiming the crossbow at.
Pretty much she's behind you, so but yeah, others can see that she seems to be aiming it at Amric.
Oh, okay.
or
Okay.
you, since you're in between.
Yeah.
One and the same.
So Amric is going to move away. So Palkas, you get an attack of opportunity.
Oh no, you don't. So, Palkas will attempt to take the hit with his maul, but no. Even in his weakened state, I doubt that he would hit that guy. He's pretty dexterous.
Okay, Amric runs off. Seeing Fabius take an arrow, and Fabius he laughs and says, "I don't have time for this."
It's
And
not even his
No.
final form.
Oh no.
Oh no!
and he's gonna go there, and then
Uh-oh.
he's gonna go there.
He's just running, or is he like flapping?
You see him run around the corner.
Okay.
All right, Coyra.
How bloody fast you are. That's superhuman.
Wait, where was 30? 1, 3, 5. That's 30, I think. And I'll move another.
Oops. That's 25. There you go.
Thank you.
There's 30.
I'll move another 30.
Okay. There.
I'm trying to catch up, basically. 'Cause
Mhm.
that was my initial goal, just
Okay.
following,
Okay.
still not harming.
Okay.
You do still get bonus actions when you use your action to move a second time, just so you know.
I'm not planning on attacking, like... I don't need people dead.
Well, I don't know if you're healing somebody, if you're casting, whatever. I'm just letting you
I
know.
wish I could.
You still get a bonus action.
I think we would need to take a rest.
Rest, schmaz. Those are for fighters. I mean wizards. I mean, no, that's for most of the party.
Malvola?
Here comes the conversation with the shield.
No, you don't hear no comments, no commentary from the shield.
Yeah, I am basically trying to catch up at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, you're basically behind me,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you move 30.
Yeah.
That's basically the best I can do.
Okay.
And I can't get line of sight on. Again, I'm not. Amric is, to me, he's running for his life because he's terrified. So
Makes sense.
the other guy, I can't get line of sight on him to do anything anyway. So
All right. Palkas.
Palkas is going to pursue. To follow right up behind him where he was before. Actually... Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Because he can't move through the space. And he wouldn't risk jumping across the water. So...
It's not like a big risk, you know. That thing's like 2 feet wide. You could step across it.
Because well, if that's 60 feet right there, basically what he would do is go, in front of the guy.
Okay.
And then he would say, I said, where do you think you're going? And he then, blocks in front of him with his maul out at this point.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thorn?
Thorn is going to look at the corner and say, bugger. Start running for the little lizard.
Time to get your trainers out.
Okay. Grim, you hear footsteps running towards you.
Incoming!
And possibly hear Palkas. Still holding slobber chops.
Mm-hmm. Slobberchops kind of looks up at you.
Busts through the door.
Looks out the door.
Kadrang.
Oh, there we go. I'm going to step into the doorway. What the heck is going on? Trying to figure out what the heck is going on out here.
Mm-hmm.
Palkas is trying to stop somebody from getting around.
And I am effectively blocking the door.
Okay. Got it.
And basically my intention is I'm not letting anyone through until somebody explains what the heck's going on.
I should say it could potentially be interpreted as Amric is trying to get at the guy that is running past me. It could look like that. I don't know.
Well, except from my vantage point, I don't even see Amric.
Yeah, Amric's
All I
like
see is
just-
Palkas and
Standing there.
Flavored Creek.
you do see Palkas. I think you can see some like part of Amric, right? Probably not enough to tell that it's Amric, or maybe. I mean, it is covered in poop. The part that you see. So, but you do see Palkas looking threateningly at somebody that slightly covered in poop standing right next to him.
It's a sewer monster.
Yeah, I guess you'd say I'm gonna hold my action to
And-
actively block anybody trying to get through.
And you feel like, you see this guy as well has an arrow sticking out of him, and he's bleeding from it.
Do I recognize the arrow?
I mean,
I think you would have wanted to get it either way, even if you don't recognize.
Nobody else in the party uses arrows. We haven't run into anybody using them yet. What do you
Coyra-
think?
The
Coyra-
only other person in the
once.
party who uses arrows other than me is a certain
Yeah.
bloodthirsty elf.
I mean, Coyra tried once.
Great.
She failed and she sold that bow.
That's true.
I'm done with this bow.
That's
Never
what
use it again.
Yeah, I just
Stupid
need
wood.
I need some explaino from people
Okay,
to know what the heck's going on.
alright.
Mhm.
Rhea is going to also continue to pursue. So where's my measury thing? There it is. So she's gonna go like this. Yeah, she's basically gonna come and stand up behind you guys. Okay, Amric. He stops and looks up at you, Palkas, and says, I believe I have met my end. And he drops to his knees and puts his hands kind of out.
Okay.
Like if he was like, you know, in these modern times with guns and stuff, he'd be putting his hands behind his head. But so he's kind of doing that kind of submissive motion of surrender.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Krieg steps up to you, Grim, and says, I would recommend moving out of the way.
9 out of
Did
10.
Grim hear his creepy,
Excuse.
I don't have time for this, mwahaha, would that have carried?
You might have heard like some voices, but perhaps not specific like words or who said them.
He's probably too
It's
busy
kind of one
hearing
of
purrs.
those. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, you probably heard some laughter as well, like laughter that you didn't recognize.
Excuse me.
Grim stops to pet a kitty and all hell breaks loose.
All right,
Well, this'll
so-
teach you.
So he's gonna kind of, he's gonna like be right in your face, and
He can try to push back.
Are you still holding
not gonna
slobber
let him.
chops?
Yeah, I'm still.
No, you have to
What is Slobber Chops doing?
Yeah, maybe Slobber Chops will let you know that
Slobber Chops kind of like jumps out of your arms, but not to the ground, and instead like up to your shoulder. And so Slobber Chops now has like front paws on this shoulder, back paws on this shoulder, and it's kind of like staring at Fabius Creek.
Basically one of those, okay, things could get violent, I'm going to get out of the way.
yeah.
Slobber chops is much smarter than your average adventurer. Like us.
All right.
No kidding.
Slobber Chops is my next PC.
After the rest of us kill Thorn,
Oh, Coyra.
because he keeps causing issues.
Oh, no.
I move up to here and I try to quickly explain the flavor guy freed Vanthampur and Thorn shot flavor guy.
Quick question. Does the Vanthampur take an attack of opportunity against Coyra upon passing?
No.
Okay.
First of all, he doesn't really have anything to
I'm
attack with. But
just
no.
asking.
No, he remains in a submissive position. Yep.
So I'll try to explain that basically, like bare basics to the point. Flavor, freed that one, and got shot by Thorn. Surprise.
Burst. Sorry. We have to find a Bears clip and post it. Alright. Okay, so you're doing kind of an explanation to Grim.
So the Grim knows what the heck is going on.
Okay.
And I'm
Grim
still
isn't
not
surprised.
Malvola?
Yeah. I mean, is anyone surprised?
No. Well, Raven might be.
I mean, that one shot, are you surprised?
Actually, I am that he didn't shoot him sooner.
True.
I promised.
Yeah, but you still shot!
Yeah.
You know, they all got a bit much.
It's just a delay tactic when you promise.
I'm gonna move to here and hold my action. I'm not sure what I want to. I kind of want to see how this plays out. How, what's his name reacts to Grim.
Okay.
You mean him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright. So holding your action for Fabius to take some action against Grim.
Yeah, like if he tries to shove him out of the way, I'm at this point I'm thinking I'm gonna hit him with Eldritch Blast, but I don't know.
Are you readying Eldritch Blast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So then Palkas.
You also have a front row seat to the Gallagher show. No, I'm kidding.
What?
I've got a guy going like this.
So dramatic.
Really?
I'm just kidding. I
Wow.
wasn't gonna do it.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right.
Mole
So
to the noggin.
Palkas turns away from Emmerich and walks over to so and so's face. What's his name?
Amric's kind of like.
He just kind of growls at him and he says, "Stay there," yeah, as he does it, and then moves over to what's everybody calling this guy? Tasty Biscuit or something?
Tasty Biscuit. Jesus. This poor guy.
Flavor Flav. No, he walks over to this guy and he says, "Are you all right?" And he reaches for where the arrow is and tries to put his hand on the guy to attempt to like see what, check the injury and whatnot and see how bad it is. So hold still. It appears you've taken some. You've been shot.
He's not gonna allow that.
Okay.
He's done with you trying to manhandle him. So he'll bat your hand aside. Don't touch me, half orc.
Gotta buy him dinner first.
And excuse me. He said, "Where are you off to so quickly?"
He says, "Away from you, madmen, shooting at me."
What were you doing with the Vanthampur?
He says, "He's clearly being held against his will."
So are you, by the Vanthampur.
So, you saying that this is a happy family that always supports each other and there's no backstabbing going on at all, or
You're very
betrayals,
easy to
or...
forgive those that have been
All right, and
hurt.
you're done with 6 seconds.
All of the
Right.
Vanthampur
Sorry, I'll keep going.
I noticed. Thorn.
I will move as far as I can.
Okay.
Yes, not a range of two. Oh no, he can shoot.
And you
I
can
don't
shoot
want to shoot
Amric.
Amric. I don't care about Amric. Amric's fine.
He's just something to step across right now. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like.
Grim.
I'll look at Palkas and kind of indicate the tunnel behind. Go stop Thorn. And then to, I guess his name is Flavor Flav now.
Keep in mind, you know what happened.
I'll indicate the symbol of Thorn on my belt. If you'll permit me, I have a little skill in healing. At least let me get those arrows out of you. We can sort out what's going on.
He says,
I'd rather not have you bleed to death.
Says, finally, a reasonable individual.
Palkas is like.
So, yes.
You just call Grim reasonable?
Yeah, I know.
Coyra is still like, he threatened me. Please be reasonable.
Does that be a medicine check?
Sure, yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Do the best I can to carefully take the arrows out and bandage the wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, at least prevent him from bleeding out.
Okay. Yeah, when you take the arrows out, he does kind of like braces himself for the pain and then like reacts to it and says, thank you for your help.
Sorry, I don't have any spell. My spells have been exhausted down here. Otherwise, I'd heal you further. Now, what happened?
Flabbergasted Palkas.
Okay. So in the meantime, while this conversation's kind of going on, Rhea's going to move up. Amric is going to stay where he's at. And then Fabius will reply and says, he says, at this point, I am very confused about who is my ally and who is my enemy. He says, I have been imprisoned down here. He says, and hang on one sec. So I've been imprisoned down here. The Duke's guards captured me shortly after I arrived in Baldur's Gate. He says, I was lucky to be able to take shelter. I thought I'd be able to take shelter here. But they captured me immediately after I arrived. And they wanted me to understand this shield, which is why the other reason why they had locked me in the vault. It says they think that it has some celestial magical properties. I think they've stolen it. Says and that is all I know about why I'm here. He says the other part that I know is that my beloved city has been dragged to the Nine Hells. And the only thing I want to do at the moment is find out what I can do to restore the city and any survivors to their rightful place here.
She didn't do anything to provoke an attack.
I simply freed that gentleman, thinking that he had also been captured.
Gentleman?
I don't know. One of the Vanthampurs, he smelled really bad.
Oh, him. Yeah, we put him there just so he'd be out of the way while we dealt with what was down here.
Hang on one second. Let me do one thing quickly.
I would do an insight check, but I can't open my character sheet.
Really? Oh, Jesus. That's no good.
Yeah, does this guy sound credible?
Well, roll an insight check. See what you think. Palkas, can you...
Can't open it. It's there. I can't
You've
click
got a
on it.
+2 to insight if you want to roll it.
Ah, thank you.
For me to also do it?
Sure.
I assume by this point I can count down Amric.
Yeah, if everybody's kind of waiting.
By the way, Coyra put the flame away, showing no harm,
Okay.
that she's not attacking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Palkas and Coyra, you think that this guy is, telling the truth? He seems, to be fairly distraught by the whole series of events.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would be too, so I totally get him.
Grim, you think he's telling the truth? There's like a small, tiny little bit of doubt.
Palkas just doesn't
Let's
like
do
him.
this.
'Cause he's a
We turn Amaric over to the guard. We escort Fabius to the guard. Let the guard handle it. That's their job. They can put Fabius into protective custody, whatever. They can explain Amaric's misdeeds and whatever part he's played in all this craziness. Let them sort it. Personally, I'm sick of this place and I want to leave.
Coyra just nods, like, yep.
There's another door down there, but at this point, I don't even care.
How does Palkas appear to be taken?
Palkas says if there's another door, there could be another captive. And if we go to the authorities, all this guy has to do is say I'm a noble, and we're all in prison.
Amaric pipes up and says, "Excuse me, I just want to share with you as a gesture of goodwill. I can help with information regarding what's behind that door, and perhaps you will let me leave this place alive." He says, behind that door is in fact the cells that we use to hold prisoners.
And do you have any in there?
He says, as far as I know, yes, there are 2 prisoners in there currently.
Really? Oh shit.
Please say one of them isn't the tax collector.
Oh god.
Oh no, he didn't get far.
And Palkas reaches in his pocket, pulls out the key that he has, and says, "Would this unlock the cells?"
He says, he'd
hold it up to him.
Yeah, he'll kind of get up and and he looks at it and says, no, that is to, I believe that's to my mother's chest in her bedroom.
Oh, isn't that the one we smashed?
Yes.
Oh. Palkas would actually say, right.
Coyra
Okay.
actually shows the keyring that she found in the thing under the bathhouse. Any of these keys would fit?
He says,
Locks are no problem.
he says, no, I don't even know what those are for, to be honest. He says,
How
but
about this?
the key is probably in the jail.
Palkas
How about
says,
this?
"Stay here a moment. I'll take Amaric down there, and we'll set the prisoners free. Just give us a moment." And he just kind of grabs Amaric by like the shirt back here,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of helps him walk down towards the door, south.
Yep, he will comply.
Rhea, would you mind staying here with Fabius? And look to Fabius. Fabius, you probably ought to rest a little bit, recover your strength. As soon as we've freed the prisoners, we'll get everybody out of here.
Who's Fabius?
If that's
Oh, I'm kidding.
if that's agreeable with you. Otherwise, Rhea could escort you out to the city.
He says, I don't see any reason to delay. He says, as I mentioned, my people are my top priority. I understand there are some prisoners. You seem quite capable of freeing them. Please,
The monster is desperate to get loose.
Thorn, cool your bloodlust.
So,
I didn't shoot anything just now. Only my mouth.
just now indeed.
Just now.
I'm just saying in general.
Your just now is different from other people's just now.
Actually, Thorn, go with Palkas. Basically, I want to make sure they're separate, and then I'll leave the choice of whether or not Rayo escorts Flavor Flav.
If you start
Upstairs
coming
or
up
not
behind
to her.
Palkas, and would he know this? He doesn't want anybody else coming with him. Is the idea? So he'd be kind of like.
Oh, Emmerich is like, yeah, sorry.
So-
and Rhea will.
So if he sees Thorn coming with him, Palkas would just kind of turn around, put his hand up, and just shake his head no, and then turn back around and continue.
Well, Malvola was following you as well. I
Oh,
believe.
okay. Sorry, I did not hear that one.
I
He'd do the same.
haven't had an opportunity to say it because
Yeah. Everyone is talking.
He'd
What are
do
you
the
talking
same.
about?
He would try to convince others to not follow with just a quick hand up and head shake.
Okay.
okay.
Coyra goes to Flavor and actually awkwardly apologizes as she's bad with people. Like, she has a hard time getting people. She's much better time with animals and apologizes for the confusion that she didn't mean any harm. As she didn't harm him either. Just to set things straight.
And he says, "Well, I thank you for that apology." He says, "And I hope I didn't harm you when I pushed past you back there."
It's fine. I get why you did it. I would have done the same.
But with a sword.
Coyra isn't bloodthirsty.
Alright,
Only in
so,
spider form.
so what you doing, Palkas?
Just continuing on to the here, having and just kind of like getting him up to the door and say, "Open the door."
Okay. He does say, "I have to warn you that there is probably a guard." He says, "I can deal with him."
And he just kind of looks at him. Open the door.
He says, "Of course." He opens the door like this. And sure enough, there is one of those guys with the weird beards. Remember weird beard guys?
Okay.
Did we see them before?
Yeah, I think he did. Oh, shoot. Hang on.
I don't recognize it.
Hang on.
Doesn't ring any bells.
No? Did we not?
I think
damn
that's
it.
Tumor of
That's
Annihilation.
Tumor of Annihilation. I'm sorry.
I'm like, I've seen him
I
before.
scrolled down to look at the picture. Yeah, that's Tumor of Annihilation.
I've never seen it
There we-
before, so
There we go. Weird beard guy.
Yep.
That was a different Vallen character that uses shape water to turn into ice.
Okay.
Cool.
And what does Mr. Emmerich do?
So Amric kind of like opens the door and he's got like one hand towards you, Palkas, as if to say, just, and he's just like motioning you, just.
He's
One.
just looking at him.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So he walks through the door and says, "Hand me the keys." To this guy here, he says, and the devil kind of actually does hand him some keys. He says, "Now step aside," and this devil does kind of step aside over here, and Amric will step into the room further.
Palkas is just waiting at the door.
Okay. Amric will come over here, and there is a gentleman in this cell here.
Mm-hmm.
And he releases him,
Mm-hmm.
and then Amric kind of checks these other two cells. Like, here, I'll just open the whole thing up. Like this. So he checks the other two cells to make sure they're empty, then comes over here, releases this person, and then checks the other two cells to make sure they're empty.
Okay. Palkas then says, "Quickly, as we're under siege," he tries to do his best to be deceptive again. It says, "As we're under siege, best to make yourself look like a prisoner, my lord." And he says, "Hand me the keys and get in a cell."
Are you talking to Amric? Or-
Yes.
Amric says,
"You know the city guard will free you shortly."
he kind of drops his head a little bit. and and goes in the cell here.
And he, Palkas says to the bearded guy, he says, "Make sure to put up a good fight." And he proceeds to leave with the keys. And the two prisoners, he's saying, "Come with me."
So you locked Amric in?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yes.
Right, and the two prisoners will accompany you. Make a deception check.
Okay. I was about to say, do you know what my bonus is?
Oh, I can look. Hang on. That's so weird that you can't open your
I
sheet.
agree.
What
By
the
the way,
flap?
is it
Roll
good?
20.
Is it turnover over then?
Yeah, kinda. It's a +3.
Right. +3. 6.
Ooh!
Okay.
Will he cooperate
Dice
with it,
roll.
though?
The bearded devil says, "Where are you taking them?"
He says, "We need to have hostages." He says it was his idea, and he points at Amric.
He says, "That doesn't answer my question. Where are you taking them?"
To the tower.
Oh. He seems to kind of recognize that, and still looks kind of suspicious, but doesn't intervene.
Okay. Jeez, oh Pete. Okay. He just quickly take. Are they in shackles or anything like that?
They are not. No.
Okay. Does Palkas tower over these two in any way, shape, or form?
So let me describe who you've got here, actually.
Okay.
So you have this fellow here is a short, lean, scholarly-looking man in his 50s. He is wearing an ankle-length kaftan. He has dark hair, and he has a neatly trimmed goatee that is dyed crimson.
Okay.
And then this person here, although the token looks like a guy with a mustache, this person is an aristocratic woman in her 70s.
Oh. Okay.
With a mustache.
With a mustache.
She really hasn't
Hey,
aged well.
Hey, no, I mean, it happens to the best of us.
I mean, we shouldn't shame people.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying she looks like a man, so she hasn't aged well.
So yeah, she is dressed in kind of fine clothing, fine noble clothing. I think we've just got the generic noble token. Yeah, we sure do.
Okay. And Palkas just says, "Come with me," and he puts his hand.
If you want to live.
No, he just kind of like puts his hand on the shoulder of one of them and pushes the other one with his maul.
Okay.
And then closes the door as he leaves.
Okay.
Assuming that they're just going along, probably frightened.
Yes. Yes, they will quickly follow you.
And upon getting about here, he'll say, shoot, it's not the Green Flame. What group are we part of?
Flaming Fist.
He says, he'd say really quietly, I'm part of the Flaming Fist. We're here to save you. Keep quiet and stick with me. And he'll whisper it to both of them.
Your audio's dropping out.
Yeah.
It's because he's whispering.
Because I was
Are you
whispering.
actually-
He would say in a whisper, and I'll say it loudly so people can hear. Sorry, I forgot. Stage whispers are more important. He would say, "I'm part of the Flaming Fist. Stick close to me. Stay quiet. I'm here to save you, along with some others." And I'm assuming that they probably might be looking a little more hopeful and
They are following you. The gentleman with the crimson beard seems to be like, you see his eyes kind of like the expression on his face calms a little when you say you're part of the Flaming Fist. Yeah.
Okay.
The woman still seems a little kind of panicked.
Okay.
The bearded devil is kind of watching you from the doorway.
Oh, because like I said, he would have closed the door on the way out.
Yep, he opens it again
Okay,
and
so
is watching you. From
if the door
doorway.
opens again, he wouldn't say that until they're around the corner.
Okay. Yep, no worries.
I need to proceed walking down. Sorry to steal the. I thought it'd just be a quick in and out operation, folks. I didn't mean to steal
No, not at all.
the time and stuff.
It's fine.
It's okay. Thorn probably would have killed the prisoners. The bearded
Yeah,
devil.
Good.
Definitely the bearded devil. I mean, nobody likes those guys. They've got weird beards.
I mean, Tom would have been like, pew! And then he asks questions when he's dead.
They've got beards.
Beards.
Sorry.
They've got beards. I don't trust them.
Beards.
Alright, so what you while Palkas is doing that, what are you guys doing up here?
Other than
Hey.
apologizing to the guy, Coyra is doing nothing. As again, he didn't
Having a
mean
party.
any harm.
Right.
She explains that she was really following just to give proper light, as the green light is kinda.
Okay.
I'd probably just move out of the doorway, reach up, and
Slobber chops!
give Slobberchop some scritches. If this guy's that insistent on leaving, let him leave.
Upon seeing Slobber chops, Coyra just goes to him and is like, oh, missed you.
He like purrs and enjoys the scratches. Rhea says, well, so Fabius will kind of like move to leave, and Rhea seems torn about leaving with him or staying with the party. How about Malvola and Thorn? What do you guys do?
Stabbing boop.
Yes. Thorn is irresolute.
I don't know. This has all gone kind of sideways, and I don't know what my response.
Well, I mean, I know what Thorn's response is.
Pew!
That's the same as your no. Okay. Without Palkas there to take some sort of moral lead from, Thorn is kind of like, well, obviously some kind of hideous monster demon thing, but then again, everything is kind of hideous monster demon things down to. Does it really make any difference? Does anyone really care? You know.
This internal dialogue is awesome. The fact that Palkas is your moral compass is a very scary thought.
Yeah.
That was my thought too, actually.
Okay. So you guys are gonna hang out.
Thorn is just staying where he is
Okay.
and hoping that if it's a disaster, you know, it will just always going to be a disaster.
Okay. All right. You do see Thorn Palkas heading towards you, and Amric has been replaced by two strangers.
Seems like a good trade.
I upgraded.
As Thorn takes out his bow and shoots them.
No! Dang it, he does get 2 shots, doesn't he? Son of a gun.
Could the guy by any chance?
He could be.
I didn't hear
I'll
what he
ask
said.
him as he approaches.
Ah,
I say,
okay.
are you from
He says, he frowns at you and says, yes, but I am very curious how you know my name.
We got it from Mortlock before he said Baldur's Gate for good.
He says, and who might you be?
Well, my name is Thorn. I'm very interested in the Book of Fragments, and he thought you might know something.
He says, I do not know much about that, but I think I know somebody who does.
Palkas says, Thorn is with me. You're safe with him.
What choice of words there?
But the fact you put it like that means he is. Can you tell me who? That would be wonderful.
He says, 1 second. He says, my friend in Candlekeep, Silvira Savicus. She has been studying the Nine Hells for many years and is the best expert I know.
That is very interesting information. Thank you. I'm glad we rescued you.
Here's the name that he gives you.
Hey. How are we gonna butcher that name?
I already did.
I mean, we made someone into flavor.
Palkas looks at both of
Both
them.
of you are too young to remember.
And says, do you both live in Baldur's Gate?
The woman says, yes, that she does. She says, I'm a member of the one of the other households. Oh boy, let me start again. My family contains one of the other dukes. Yes, I live in Baldur's Gate.
Hopefully you will find the new Duke Vanthampur to be less.
She says, what has happened to Thalmara? Why do we need a new Duke Vanthampur?
Well, one has to be alive, surely.
One of her eyebrows like skyrockets, but like arched eyebrow, and she says,
Well,
to
as
who,
a matter of fact, one of them is a little...
to who do I owe the favor for that kind event?
It was a group effort. Although I kind of started and finished it.
She's partially responsible for the disappearance of the city of why am I trying to say
Elturel.
Elturel, into the Nine Hells.
Okay. She says, I am perhaps not as surprised as I should be.
No.
And what about the
Having met her,
Oh,
I
sorry.
can believe that.
I didn't quite catch what you said.
I said, having met her, I can believe that.
Palkas talks to the other ex-prisoner and says, and you?
Mr. Fisk says,
Fisk.
says, no, I have only just arrived in Baldur's Gate a few days ago, in fact.
Have you family or friends here?
Says, no, but I will likely be returning to Candlekeep.
I think we might be interested in joining you, if you'd have us.
He says, perhaps it would be beneficial to travel there together.
Palkas reaches into the sack that he recently obtained booty and loot from, and takes out 20 gold pieces and puts 10 in each of their hands and says, just in case you need it until you get to where you're going.
Philastafisk looks a little confused. Says, so you're sending me on my way with money, but yet you want to travel with me. I'm sorry?
Says, It's just in case you need to buy yourself some food if we end up getting distracted or something. Do not worry. Stick with us, we'll be okay.
Okay. I'm kind of assuming that you're all kind of regrouping in the wine cellar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. Fabius will have exited by now. So he's going to kind of have left, right? He heads up the stairs, and Rhea is kind of loitering, like she's part way up the stairs. She seems quite confused about which way to go. And when Philaster sees Rhea, he kind of looks at her like a little and frowns a little and says, "A Hell Rider?" And she kind of looks slightly worried and says, yes, I was on a mission to locate Fabius Krieg. And at that, Philaster is kind of like, it's almost like he's going to spit, like he just looks disgusted at the words coming out of Rhea's mouth and says, he says, "Perhaps we have more reason to go to visit Silvira than we thought." He says, considering her intelligence on Mr. Krieg.
What did she say about him?
Yeah, intelligence.
He says, well, together she and I have become convinced that, in fact...
He's a pit fiend.
That he has struck a bargain with an archdevil. And in fact, one of the reasons why I am in Baldur's Gate is to try and locate the copy of the contract, because we believe he has it hidden inside a magic puzzle box. Silvira has asked me
puzzle box
to obtain this box as proof of Krieg's crimes.
Palkas says, Leia.
Yes, Luke?
Use the force.
I will force it. Rhea, we need to stop him before he gets away.
Puzzle box, one of us.
Yeah.
That would be me.
Yeah. Well, that's a start. But
Philaster says, I
told you he cast the Dead Shadow.
He says, I would not recommend taking him on. Philaster says,
deny the shadow.
If he is who we think he is, then he will likely take your life. He says, let us...
Right, he just laughed at.
Let us be, more intelligent about handling this. He says, first let us find this. Well, he says my task first is to find this puzzle box, and then perhaps we can all travel to meet with Silvira.
How about this? First, we get the heck out of here.
Wise choice.
And have this discussion at Elfsong and pull the puzzle box partially out of the pack, and then we can discuss this and stick it back in my pack.
His eyes get really big for a second, and then he goes, yes, this is a wise plan.
We have much to discuss.
Because I want the hell out of this place.
Let's go.
I'm sick of it.
Slobber Chops, you're coming with us.
I mean,
cat in the bag. Just kidding.
No.
If he doesn't come with us, how does he get food?
That's where
Actually,
all the food
I'll kind of
is.
look at. I imagine is he still sitting on my? Is he still sitting on my shoulders?
you're aware that Slobberchops is intelligent enough to cast spells.
Mhm.
Sloppy
How
Chops
am I
is still
supposed to
standing
know
on your
that?
shoulders. Yeah,
Is he still sitting on my shoulders?
he is. Yeah.
I'll
Oh,
kind
do
of
not
look at
stand
him.
over here.
What do you think, little
Heading-
warrior? Do you want to come with us?
He kind of tilts his head a little. He
Just
doesn't
know-
jump
I
down.
figure if he doesn't,
So-
if he doesn't want to go, he'll just
Mm.
take off.
I'll tell Slobberchops really quick. Just know, the Duke is dead.
Yeah, Sloppy Chops doesn't really have much of a reaction to that.
Yeah, I thought so. I mean,
Okay.
the source of food is dead. That's why I mentioned it.
We are the source of food now.
All right.
Indeed.
And we're going to end it there.
All right.
We'll pick up next time with a bigger conversation with Philastafisk in Elfsong.
Dang, there's a lot going on in this one, and not a
Mm.
lot of it was combat. Thanks everybody
I'm
for
amazed.
coming out.
I didn't die.
Yeah. Thank you,
I was like,
viewers.
please don't fight him. Please don't fight him.
Thank you, viewers. Thank you, Kashcah. Thank you, players. And we'll all see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.